Good afternoon, everyone. I hope all of you are doing fine, and all of you must have had your lunch as well. So, which makes this a post-lunch session. So, and all of you do know the dangers with post-lunch sessions, right? So, I hope I won't be disturbing that part of your post-lunch sessions. But anyhow, welcome to this session on Indian economy, the orientation session on Indian economy. My name is Purandari, and I'm going to be your economic instructor and your economic faculty for the rest of the course. So in today's video, we are going to see what exactly Indian economy as part of your UPSC, both prelims and mains, consists of, and what are some of the common misconceptions. What are the some of myths that surround economy part of your syllabus? And finally, we'll also see how to approach and what are the basic minimum things that needs to be done as part of this particular session. So, before getting any further into the discussion, a brief introduction about myself. As I said, my name is Purandari. I've done my master's in US. I have a master's in economics as well. Then I've been to UPSC interview twice. So I'm not an outsider. So when I say certain things for in this particular session, I'm not speaking those words as an outsider. Rather, I'm telling as an insider into this particular examination process. So whenever we look at economy, the minute you guys hear about economy, the first thing that comes into your mind is that economy is difficult. Yes, all the modules are on one side and economy is on one side. You know, there is that kind of phobia or intimidation whenever you come across this module of economy. Isn't that the case? I'm sure most of you will be agreeing. If you agree with that, you can just reply in your chat box. But is that particular fear, is that unfounded, or does it have any basis? That's the question. So before going any further, there are certain things that I want to clear up. First and foremost is, number one, that economy is different. Economics or economy. I hope all of you, at least some of you, must have watched the other video on our channel. If not, you can watch it later, where we have already made a decent descriptive video on strategy. Don't worry, like we'll be seeing those things anyhow. So first and foremost, economy or economics is difficult. See, nothing is easy, and at the same time, there is nothing as such called as difficult. That's one thing. Compared to many other examinations, compared to many other career choices, this particular career choices that you have chosen already, most of you have already started the preparation by attending this particular session. That itself is half the work done. So you have already chosen. So that's the difficult part, in fact. Selecting this particular career choice is the difficult part. Everything after that is just, it's a walk in the park. But then why do people say this? And I'll just address all these myths at a time, okay? Another thing is that macroeconomics is not that important, but microeconomics is important. Some of you must have already gone, read your NCERT books, or you must have already seen certain videos. But whatever it is, there is another misconception that microeconomics is important and macroeconomics is not that important, or in terms of difficulty levels in between micro and macro. Then another thing is, rest of the all 15 to 20 modules that we have in this examination, the common misconception is that those are very easy to remember. But economy, since it's very difficult, let's mug it up. We can just mug up just before the examination. So there's no need to understand the concepts because it's a very tricky subject. And lastly, yes, the most important misconception about economics, Indian economy. Though the words are interchanged, your syllabus is Indian economy. Of course, there is no Indian economy without economics part, because economics becomes your theory, the principles. So yes, no need of magazine, so no need of newspaper, just read some current affairs magazines. I'll just address all these 4 to 5 myths in one single discussion. First of all, why is economics difficult? Economics is difficult because, at least the perception, the belief that economics is difficult of all the modules is because all the rest of the modules are, you will be exposed to those rest of the modules in some or the other way. For example, take a polity article. You have a basic understanding of whatever constitution, your school life. Your school social studies has taught you certain things. So you know what a Supreme Court does, you know what an MP or who an MP or MLA is, what are their responsibilities. So you know that Supreme Court adjudicates. Whereas when it comes to economy, you pick up the economy part of the newspaper, none of the topics, none of the newspaper reports hardly makes any sense. Why? Because we don't talk about economics. Economics, yes, more or less, the final debate about economy is money. Yes, end of the day, it's about money. So, if it is about money, we don't talk about money at our homes. Isn't that the case? Kids are not at all taught about financial discipline in our Indian society. We don't know what exactly, how much money is coming into the household, how much money is leaving, what are the incomes, what are the expenditures. We don't even think about these things. So you study a part of economics in your school life, then you come and now this is the first time after your school life. In fact, if you have done your graduation in economics related subject or in commerce, yes, that's a different thing. But those are in minority. The only reason, so to cut short the discussion, to cut short the story, the only reason why economics seems, Indian economy as a module seems difficult for you is that because it has completely become unfamiliar for you. So what's the solution? See, every problem should have a solution. You as an administrator, that's what is expected from you. So every problem, there should be a solution. So what's the solution? Improving or increasing your familiarity. And how will you do that? I'll tell you that, how to do that. Then macro is important. Micro is important, macro is not important. Macro is easy, micro is difficult. Nothing like that. It's like asking someone, which organ of human body is most important? Is it your eyes or is it your liver or your stomach? It's an entire system. Isn't that the case? It's an entire system. So how can we say that one part is difficult, one part is easy, one part is easier to understand, is more important? Because your macro and micro together makes your Indian economy. Always remember that. Then the most important thing, you can mug it up. Mugging up is something which see, yes, there are some aspects which needs to be by hearted. Every module will have that. Likewise, economy will also have, in fact, all your entire constitution, all the article numbers that you remember, that's nothing but mugging up. So yes, there are some aspects of economy which, yes, we will also study certain laws like FRBM Act in economy. So we do study certain laws. Yes, what are laws? If you have to understand a legal provisions, you have to just remember them. Then you have to interpret, then you have to apply. That's the second part. So there are some aspects which you have to mug up, but you can't mug up the basics, you can't mug up the concepts, you can't mug up the interrelation between different type of concepts. It's next to impossible. And when do you have to mug up? When you don't understand. When you don't understand the underlying concept. In fact, understanding some underlying concept is easier and comfortable for our brains than mugging them up. Always remember that. And this particular aspect is not just for economy. Remember that. It's for everything. All the rest of the modules as well. Mugging up will not really help you. See, there may be one or two people. In some of you, you must be surprised with some individuals, some of your friends' ability to just mug up and recollect. Those are the exceptions. So what's the solution here? Rather than mugging up, understanding the concepts. Understand the concepts. So mugging up will not really take you far. You may be able to mug up one or two concepts. And finally, this is the fundamental question that you guys will have, whether to read newspaper or to just pick up some magazine and just go through the entire monthly current affairs magazine, pick one from your newspaper stand in your market and read it. We'll talk about that, okay? Just keep that in mind. Now let's move on. So in this short discussion in the next 1 hour or so, this is what we are going to do. Okay, so the introduction part we are done. So the syllabus, have to understand the syllabus. Then what's the strategy that can be applied? So strategy is nothing but your work. My work and your work, both of us combining it. That's the strategy. How are we going to combine? How are we going to equally complement each other? That is strategy. My work and your work. Remember that. Then, yes, placing the topic, do's and don'ts. These are some of the things that will be seen. Before the interruption, we were talking about whether we can ignore economy completely, right? So, if you look at the way it has been structured, if you look at the number of questions from the past 4 years, on an average, there are at least 15 to 17 questions, right? There are at least 15 to 17 questions. And now just imagine yourself, ask yourself if it will be possible for you to clear the examination by ignoring economy part completely, which is next to impossible, right? So look at the number of questions. If there are these many questions, obviously it will be difficult to ignore the module completely. Then some of the problems that students face when it comes to economy as such are, see, number one, most of you are serious enough about the examination to read NCERTs even before coming to the classes. Yes, almost some of you must have finished already. But the problem that arises from your side is that even after reading NCERT, yes, NCERTs are good. That's a good start. But even after reading NCERTs, you'll find it that the NCERTs, whatever you are reading in the NCERTs, whatever you're reading in the NCERTs, it's not having any link with your syllabus words or the topics that you are reading or the topics that you are reading. No, when we start the coursework. So, meaning simply put it, correlation. Even after reading NCERTs, correlation is one difficulty, one difficult thing that you guys will be facing, which means NCRTs are not enough. To put it in a simple way, NCRTs are not enough. So NCRTs are not totally enough. They'll just lay a basement for you. Then another problem that you face is that there is no proper study material. There is no proper study material that's available. Right? Which is true. Which is, to an extent, it is true that there is no proper study material or study material at one place. Then most of you must have already started reading newspapers. This is one fundamental issue. I'll address this particular issue in one of the previous article, the recent article that has appeared in the newspaper. So you open a business section, but you don't know what to read and what not to read. Even if you can figure out, even if you can narrow down on one particular topic, it will be difficult for you to understand. So economy related current affairs here. Economy related current affairs, you can't understand them. To address all these issues, what is the solution? Simply put, the solution is number one. So some of the problems and the solutions. The first solution to any, see, remember, no one knows these concepts, these technicals under economics, right? Under Indian economy, right? So when you feel something as difficult and when something is unavoidable, the first and foremost thing that you should do is revision. First and foremost thing that you should do is revision. Revision and repetition. You have to continuously repeat and revise the things that are available for you. Then number two, yes, some of the concepts that are present in economy are new for most of you. So when you look at it from the terms perspective, or when you look at it from the language perspective, the concept might appear new, but the solution is break down the topic. See, remember, I always tell one thing. Every economy topic is like what happens inside your household, inside your family. Like what happens inside your family. So if you can understand, break down the main topic into smaller topics, into stories. Trust me, economy is a story. That's it. Each topic is a story. Remember, try to understand it like a story. It will be the best subject. I promise you that. And the last and the most important thing is you should not have notes. You shouldn't go and read topics from different places. You shouldn't go and read topics from different places. Remember that. There should be, excuse me, there should be only one notes. Preferably, it should be your own notes. Remember that. What do I mean by breaking down the topic into a simpler topics like a story? Okay, I'll give you an example. See, it's easier to say things, right? It's easier said than done, but I'll help you in doing things as well. Do not worry at all. So for example, look at this particular news report that has come. Some of you must have read this already. Some of you must have read this already. I won't be giving you the content of this newspaper article, but India's debt to GDP ratio is now at a 14-year high. Right? So first and foremost, see, always remember, economy will always have an economics concept in it. Because without economics, there is nothing. So there will always an economics concept Then you will be having the application part. So what is the economics component meaning? Meaning what is the definition? What is the conceptual part of this particular news report? That is nothing but your debt to GDP ratio. That's nothing but, I'll just. So that's nothing but the first concept is debt to GDP ratio. See, as a concept, this debt to GDP is, it might be new thing, but don't worry about it. See, let's first understand this news report. So we are saying the economics part is debt to GDP. So simply put, see, two, you must have read in your ratio proportional classes in your school. So it's nothing but, simply put, it is a debt to your GDP. This is completely misbehaving. So just bear with me. Debt to GDP, right? So I asked you to break down it and understand it in the form of a story. So what is the story then? Let's say you have your family, all of you have your family, right? So don't get into debt and GDP as well. Even let us assume that even they are difficult words. But so you know that you have a household, right? A family of 4, let's say. A family of 4. So how is the economy of the family undergoing? How is the economy of the family happening? Let's say the entire income of the family is 100. Let's say I'm talking about my family. The entire income of my family is, let's say, 100 rupees. So GDP, assume that this is your GDP value. Assume that this is your GDP value. Okay. So 100 rupees is the total value of the family, total money. Let's say the total money worth, the assets, the wealth. And let's say there has been an emergency, an unforeseen emergency has come, and you may have to borrow. I may have to borrow, right? So what will it result in? I will borrow, let's say, 50 rupees. I'll borrow 50 rupees, right? So debt, you know what debt means, you know. So now you have borrowed 50 rupees. So what will be your family's debt to GDP ratio? Simply put, it will be 50 by 100, nothing but 1/2, nothing but if you express it in a percentage, it will be 50%. So you have borrowed 50% worth of your family's assets, your family's total wealth. Let's put it like that. When you had an emergency, you have to borrow. So your emergency situation had forced you to borrow. See, borrowing, these things are very common. You must have heard it in your family as well. So when will you borrow? Whenever there's an emergency, whenever your incomes, whenever your salary, there is a steady salary will be there, steady income will be there. But for some reason, the flow of that income is disturbed. Right? For educational purposes, for marriage purposes, we do borrow. For construction of a house. All these are the reasons why we borrow as a household. But here in this article, we are talking about India's debt to GDP. Now, India is a family. So what do you mean by India is a family? Who will borrow on behalf of India? The government of India. Isn't that the case? So why is the government of India borrowing? Because Number one, there has been an emergency. What is the emergency? Nothing but your COVID emergency. What happened because of the COVID emergency? COVID, you must have seen around you. People have lost jobs. Even you are not spending the way you used to spend. Your father, now go and ask your father, Dad, I want to give, I want dad or mom, like, I want to throw a party to my friends. Your father will say, like, are you mad? Look around, people are losing jobs. Meaning, we are not spending money because our jobs have become riskier. So if we are not spending, what will happen? So COVID has resulted in fall in the incomes. We were in the previous example, we were saying fall in incomes. What is the income source? Most important income source for a government? Taxes. When we are spending a single rupee, when we go out and spend money in the market, there are taxes, right? So you are spending, the tax resource is the government's main source of income. But what happened to economic activity because of COVID emergency? Economic activity has shrunken. Economy has slowed down. So tax resources, meaning government's income sources, have dried up. Just like a household, how it borrows when there is an emergency, when the income is not there, India has to borrow. Government of India has to borrow. Government of India also has borrowed. As a family, where will you borrow from? Just think. You borrow from friends, right? You borrow from family, relatives. You borrow from banks. As institutions also we do borrow, right? We borrow from friends, we borrow from family, relatives, we borrow from banks, take bank loans, personal loans, that loan, this loan, all the calls that you get if you're working, some of you, banks try to sell different types of loans. Or if you have some relatives abroad, outside India, you are also going to borrow from them, right? Because NRIs, they have good amounts of money. So you also borrow from them. Government of India also has to similarly borrow. So where is it borrowing? So it is borrowing from where? So what did we say first? We said we can borrow from friends, family, and banks. Likewise, for Government of India also has certain sources to borrow. Has certain sources to borrow. What are those sources? First and foremost, you will be having internal sources. In that example, what did we say? We borrow from our friends, family, first inside. Then if the money is not enough, or if they're not going to help us, then we will call our NRI friends or NRI family members, brothers or sisters. So, which means borrowing sources for the government can also be from internal sources, and number two, external sources. Why? Because India can also borrow from abroad, right? India can also borrow from abroad. So what are the internal sources? Internal sources means what? Government borrows. See, enough. This is technical. Let's not get into technical because it will be confusing. But if you want the technical aspect, Government of India, internal means from within the country. It can borrow. It borrows in the form of T-bills. It borrows in the form of T-bills. It borrows in the form of bonds. It borrows in the form of other securities, long-term securities. As I said, these are the technical aspects. So these are like, the normal promissory note. Families, when we are borrowing, you must have heard of promissory note. Just imagine them as like that. But there are different types of promissory notes. That's it. We also borrowed from outside India. So Government of India can also borrow from outside India. So external means what? You have World Bank. We have International Monetary Fund. We have Asian Development Bank. All these are multilateral institutions. We can borrow from there. Or we can also borrow directly from other countries, from Russia, from USA, or friendly countries. You can also borrow from those. Right? So what exactly, where did we start with? We started with a news article which said that India's debt to GDP ratio was high. The economics part was just that the debt to, what is debt to GDP? Debt to GDP ratio, simply put, the total debt of the country, the ratio between the debt of the country to the GDP of the country. In fact, this particular map flowchart that you are looking at right now, internal sources, external sources, don't worry. There is no way that you will know about this, but we'll see when we are discussing the class. There is, in fact, another source that the government of India will also borrow from. That is nothing but your public accounts of India. Your public accounts of India. That's a third source that the government of India can borrow. The government is like the big brother, right? So for families, we only have two sources, but government should have an additional source. What is that? Generally, you must have heard across, if some of you are working, or your fathers, your mothers, your parents, when they work, you must have come across the word Provident Fund. What is a Provident Fund? We put money, our money in the Provident Fund, the government uses today, it gives us later on when we retire, or whenever, after a fixed time period. So Provident Fund contributions are nothing but government borrowings. Likewise, you have another thing called as National Small Savings Fund. We save, but that is government borrowing. In fact, this entire chart that you are looking at right now is part of your budget discussion. Your budget discussion will address this. See, when you look at it purely from economics perspective, it will be very confusing. Debt to GDP ratio, the ratio, you talk about debt sustainability. Then another concept is another concept called as debt servicing. In this very article, go through the article later on, okay? You'll understand. Go through the article later on. You'll understand. Then you also have, the article also introduces something called as, a concept called as debt servicing. Debt servicing. What do you mean by debt servicing? You know debt. What is debt? What we borrow, right? When we are borrowing, your 7th class math tells you simple interest, compound interest problems. Remember, when we borrow, what will we have? We'll have a principal, we'll have interest component. Every month, we repay interest plus a small amount of principal. That is your math part, simple interest, compound interest, principal interest. Bring the same concept to economy, that becomes your debt servicing. So what do you mean by debt servicing? Debt servicing is the repayment of interest and principal in a fixed time period that has been agreed upon. When will you be able to service the debt? Meaning, when will you be able to pay the principal and the interest? Only when you have a fixed, stable source of income. When you don't have a job, can you service your debt? Of course not. What's the job that the government has running the country, for which it is receiving tax resources? If the tax resources are not there, can the government service its debt? Of course not. So the debt sustainability levels will decline of the government. So the same story we can explain in pure economic terms, or just break it down, understand how a normal household economic works. Apply the logic here, it becomes very easier. So public debt management involves 3 sources of debt: internal, external, and public account of India. Internal accounts, internal sources are through which the government of India borrows in the form of T-bills, bonds, and securities. That's all the technical part. Don't worry about that. As I said, I just gave you an idea. Then, if you also go through the newspaper report, this particular newspaper report, there will be, as I said, there will be concepts. Then another important concept is fiscal deficit. There's something called as fiscal deficit. Don't worry about it now, for now. Then another observation that you must have done is numbers. Look at that news report. India's GDP ratio is now at 14-year high. Obviously, it will be ratio. It can be expressed in percentage. So it will be 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%. Some of you may have a question, sir, do we have to remember these numbers? So as a thumb rule, UPSC will never ask you the numbers. The hard numbers, UPSC will not ask, believe me. But however, you will need these numbers when you are writing your mains answers. Why? Numbers gives credibility to your arguments. Remember that. If you're not giving, say, economy, this is economy. So imagine if someone asks you, tomorrow you got a job, someone asks you, how much salary you are earning? You should not say that I earn a lot. I earn very much high. I have a very high salary. Or you can't say, no, I don't earn much. They'll again ask you, no, how much do you earn? Tell me the number. Then you have to give the number. So once you give the number, there is credibility to your statement that I earn more or I earn less. So as long as you are not using numbers, your answers won't look that perfect. I'm talking about the mains answers. So numbers will be helping your essay in your mains answers. Remember that. In fact, why you shouldn't ignore economy is an entire paper, 3/4 of paper is there for your in the form of your paper 3 for mains. So even if you can cross the hurdle of prelims by ignoring economy or by harding economy, you cannot write paper 3. So every newspaper article will throw you some 4 or 5 economics concepts, all interrelated concepts. Then it will also throw you some numbers at your face. Ignore the numbers, okay? Because once you are completing the codes, once you are reading the newspapers every day, those numbers will stick in your brain. Don't worry. And you just need to have a rough estimate. That's it. Nobody will, nobody will, even your mains answers, even if you just give an approximate number, let's say it's 52.8%, you can just say India's Day-2 GDP is 50%. Nobody will cut any marks for you. But you should not say that, no, India's Day-2 GDP is just 1% or 2%. That's not even the ballpark, right? So approximations are always good. So do not try to, mug up all these numbers, because there will be a lot of numbers every day in the newspaper. And remember, how are you going to select the topics? Whatever the government does is part of your syllabus. As I've said in another video, go back and watch the video. Whatever the government does is part of the syllabus. Whatever the government is not doing is not part of the syllabus. So apply this logic to the business section of your newspaper, of your economy. Well, because understand the topic from current affairs perspective rather than blindly mugging it up. There is no point in just bunking up debt to GDP ratio definition. As long as you don't understand what is debt to GDP ratio, how is it forming, what are the reasons, what are the solutions. So simply put, I'm saying that you should be, how will you get familiar with the subject? Get familiar with the, first remove that phobia, that fear. How will you do that? Your WH questions. Your school must have taught you WH questions. Remember, every topic understand from the perspective of a WH questions. What, where, why, how. Remember, the shortcut is also what? 5 wives and 1 husband. I think something like that, right? 6 wives and 6 Ws, 5 Ws and one husband. Because how also will be the part of that. Break down the topic. Remember, it is economy is story. It's a small story collected in the form of a big story. This is where this is my responsibility. Breaking down every topic in the form of stories. And yes, stories will, they will get into your brains easily. Right? So I also want to show you that not all questions of economy that comes in your UPSC not all questions are difficult. In fact, by just attending the classes, reading the newspaper, current affairs articles, at least there will be 5 questions out of the 16 questions. There will be 5 questions which you can answer very easily. Let's look at this previous year question. What's the most important thing in this? Interest coverage ratio. Okay. What is the importance of the term interest coverage ratio of a firm in India? So obviously we are talking about a firm, means about a company. Just go through the idea, the concept, interest coverage ratio. Right? So you don't even have to know what exactly the formula is for that particular concept. This is part of the, it's not that you come across such a thing every day, but it was in news when it was asked. Don't worry about that. So just break down the idea, interest coverage. So every company borrows, every household borrows, likewise, every company borrows. So we need to cover our interest from our earnings, of course. So the ability, whether we are able to cover our interest payments or not, our debt repayments or not, our debt servicing or not. So your general basic understanding is telling you that interest coverage ratio is something to do with the ability of a company to repay its debts and interests. So now look at the options. It helps in understanding the present risk of a firm that a bank is going to give a loan to. It helps. Simply put, a bank will look at the number of interest coverage ratio of a particular firm. So it will help. Of course, it will help, right? That's what the concept is. Interest coverage ratio. This is a previous year question, by the way, which can be answered without even just by having some basic economic concepts. Can you guys mute someone else? Okay, it's okay. I can do it from my side. I've done it. Right. The first option says it helps in understanding the risk. Then second one, it helps in evaluating the risk of a firm. Right. So understanding the present risk and evaluating the emerging risk, of course. So see, simply put, a company should have ability. Means what is ability? Money to repay its or debt obligations, right? So higher your interest coverage ability, better is this, right? If whatever you are earning, if you are able to repay, let's say next 1 year, if you have the money, enough money to repay the next 1 year's interest and debt repayments, it's good. If you only have 6 months, okay, better than good, but not better than a company with 12 months ability. If you only have 3 months, risk. If you only have 1 month, highly risky, because whatever you are earning, you will be able to pay only for 1 month. What about the second month? If there's, let's say, some emergency has come up. So when I am a bank, when I'm lending, which company will I choose of these 3 companies? Obviously, the one which has the ability to repay for the next 12 months, right? Look at the third option now. Higher the borrowing firm's level of interest coverage ratio, the worse is its ability to service its debt, which is false. Which is false, this particular option. Because as high as it is, it's better for the company. It's good for the company. It can pay that much easily. Look, where is economy here? Where is economics part here? What is intimidating here? Just some basic principles of economy that we observe in our day-to-day life. That's why we're receptive to ideas. Look around what's happening. That's where, now tell me, if you ignore the newspaper, how can you come across this basic stuff? Because interest coverage ratio is part of the accounting's book. So you don't even read NCERTs, you only read economy, micro and macro. But this is part of your accounting books of NCERT, 11th and 12th. We don't read them. That's not required. Do not read it. That's the reason your economy, your newspaper becomes important. So the answer is only 1 and 2, obviously. Did I use anywhere? Did I use economics here? Of course not. So there will be 5 to 6 questions, 5 questions, at least 5 questions, which you can answer in such a way where you don't need anything, just attending the class and going through the notes. Likewise, this is just the definition I've put here. So interest coverage ratio is a financial ratio. That is just to remind them how well a company can pay the interest on its outstanding debts. So who uses it? Generally, the lenders, creditors, nothing but banks. And also someone who wants to invest in a company. So how risky is that particular company is? These are the technicals which you don't need to answer this question if you read the question properly. Likewise, there are 2 other questions. First, look at the second question. Chairman of public sector banks are selected by. If you just read, when this question was asked, see, every now and then, we have so many public sector banks that every now and then, one or the other chairman will be retiring. The next person should be selected. So if you just read one newspaper report, you'll understand that there's something called as Banks Board Bureau here. There's something called as Banks Board Bureau, which will select which will make these selections. Where is economy here? See, I'm just trying to, you should lose that fear. I'm trying to do that. Do not fear about economy. It's like any other module. In fact, it's the easiest if you understand, because it's like math. It's like logical. Likewise, which one of the following links all the ATMs in India? Again, no economy needed at all. You will be using all these UPIs now. Just like how UPIs are connected, ATMs are also connected by your NPCI, National Payments Corporation of India. So these are some of the questions which can be answered very easily by just normal observations. It's part of economy, your economy's questions. But still, look at how easy the questions are. Then the strategy part. Now let's get into the strategy part. Yes, it's always good. See, whatever we have seen now until now, remember the questions will be like that. Remember, our course will also be like that. Breaking down, understanding the story, using the concept, application. That's it. So how to strategy? As I said in the earlier part of the discussion, your work and my work should complement each other. That's the best strategy for economy. So start with NCERTs. Yes, I'll suggest that read NCERTs. Then yes, newspapers. Newspaper is one thing which I belong to the old school. Okay, I don't really buy into this argument of reading some current affairs magazine, monthly current affairs magazines once in a while. So your newspapers are important, newspaper articles are important. See, one way of improving the familiarity with the subject and all this jargon, yes, economy involves some jargon. You are being exposed to that jargon for the very first time, most of you. How will that become familiar? By completely, reading a newspaper article every day, because after 10 or 15 days, the same jargon will be in your brain, and the same jargon will be used in the newspapers as well. Remember that. That's the reason newspaper becomes important. But yes, all the current affairs, trust me, that's where my work starts. Linking the current affairs and the underlying concepts while you are doing our normal course. You'll understand that. Then classes and class notes as about what is the source. And this budget, you may have some questions of budget, economic survey, schemes, reports. How are we going to read them? We'll see that, okay? Don't worry, we'll have a separate session on budget and economic survey as the course work that has been provided. schedule. So we'll be doing budget and economic survey complete separately. And while also incorporating the aspects of budget and economic survey in our topics on a day-to-day basis. We'll be doing that as well. Then finally, do's and don'ts. First, let's look at the don'ts, because as a student, from a student's perspective, I can easily understand your brain, your minds. Don'ts are more important for you. First of all, remove the fear. Economy is a very simple subject. It's a story. That's it. Remember that. Remove the fear. Trust the teacher. Means trust me. I know what I'm doing. And have trust, have faith in me. Once the day I say that, yes, the course is done, just you should check yourself. Compared to today. Today is your first day. Tomorrow is going to be your first day. So just check that. Compare yourself. Okay, that's the only test. Number 3, ask questions. I love questions. I love to answer questions. I'll always be available. And it's through questions that you'll be learning more and more. So ask doubt. There is no silly doubt or there is no stupid question. Remember that. Every question is equally important, and through questions, particularly when it comes to economy, because there are so many confusing concepts. And whenever we start our offline classes, you can always, I'll always be there. I will sit after the class. Don't even have to worry. Then 4th, don't rush things. Okay. Do not rush things, because there is a pace at which things happen. Even if we are trying to be hasty, there is a pace at which things happen. Okay. Remember that. Most important thing, stick to one source. Don't read one single topic from multiple sources. It's waste of time. Remember that. Rather, make your own notes, repeat it. That's it. Repetition is the only way out. Revise and, in fact, revise and repeat. That's the only way you can increase the familiarity with the subject. And the last one, most importantly, of course, you shouldn't ignore economy because it only seems difficult. Last one, don't be lazy. Okay. You have to put effort from your side. I'm ready to keep double the efforts than you. But you should at least put equal efforts as me. Then we can meet in the middle ground. Then the journey becomes very memorable. I can promise you that. Economy is one such subject which you can really enjoy. If you know how to enjoy. So don't be lazy. Ask questions. The most important thing I want from your side is questions. Ask me questions. Ask me any doubts. And work. So these are some of the do's that you should focus upon. Syllabus copy. First of all, I expect all of you should be having a syllabus copy. In how many days, Tanush? Okay, I'll take the questions. Okay, just let me finish this. Yeah, then I'll answer your question. So yeah, these are some of the rules that you should do. Syllabus copy, by heart the syllabus. Placing the topic. The most important thing that you should understand, that you should learn is, when you look at a question, you should be able to place the topic, place that particular topic in your syllabus copy. Means you should by heart your syllabus. Remember that. Your syllabus copy should be always with you. By heart the syllabus. Make the habit of placing the topic in the syllabus, because syllabus you'll have at least 10 chapters. Place it in that topic in the syllabus. Half of the work is done. You'll be able to understand the answers. So understanding the terms, classes and class discussions, newspaper reading, current affairs, notes making. One single source, that should be your handwritten notes. Trust me, it helps. And the last one, previous year questions. I expect you to buy any one good, decent previous year questions. Any series is fine. This previous year questions, it works for all the modules. Remember that. So the current affairs, yes, it's my responsibility. I'll include as many current affairs as possible while we are dealing with our concepts, while we are dealing with our subject. Okay. So this is about a brief orientation and what to do and how we can do it. And I wish best of luck for all of you. Remember, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. The preparation is a marathon. Don't try to do a sprint. You'll fumble. Meaning, one day at a time, one step at a time. We need to take short-term steps, mid-term measures, and long-term planning. Remember that. So, yeah, what is the question? No problem, Ajay. Then, in how many days we'll be able to complete the syllabus? Tanush, rather than days, we should be able to complete the syllabus in around 120 hours. Okay, so divide that. We may be able to have some extra classes some days. Okay, so some days we may have to able to have extra classes. I think the timetable must be already out. I think each day will be having 1.5 hour session. Each day will be having 1.5 hour session. So if we get more sessions, then we'll complete it more faster. So days is not the right measure, but if you have, if you assume that we only get 1 day, 1 hour, one session, so 1.5 hour. So we need around 120 hours, 100 to 120 hours. It may extend. Okay. See, hours quantity is not important, quality is important, Tanush. Okay. You calculate how many days we'll be needing. Is it easy to understand the term of economics without reading NCERT? Yes, Honey Sutar. Yes, it's possible because I'll take care of that part. I'll make sure, but if possible, I'll ask you to. If you can, there's no harm in doing it. Okay. Then Ajay, I can't judge it. Okay, you should be the one who should judge it. So it doesn't matter what you have bought or what you are reading. If it is, see, a good test of any book is whether close the book, recollect what you have read. If you are able to recollect what you have understood after reading any book, then that's a good book. So I don't have to name any one specific book. Okay, you just test yourself after reading a topic. Then which newspaper do we follow? Kaumidi, it doesn't matter any one newspaper, but see, this preparation, Hindu is as a universal must. You can't ignore that, right? Even if you ignore it, somebody else might be saying that, aren't you reading Hindu? So after a point of time, it will be creating some kind of dissonance, if you don't read Hindu. But I'll suggest you to also read Live Mint. Live Mint is one good newspaper. It will also help you to it simplify the economics concepts in such a way that you'll also be able to use the social impact in your essays. You can also use essays. So Live Mint is one. Live Mint and Hindu, that should do the work. Then how will be our approach? I heard that there will be some pillars of economy, and as per that, few will be reading. What are those pillars? Praneeth.
To help individuals and society deal with the emotional stresses which occur during life crisis.
Notes making. Hema Ande. Yeah, you're not on mute. So yeah. Praneeth, I answer that question. I know where that is coming from. There is nothing called as pillars of economy. There are some core concepts, which doesn't mean that the peripheral concepts are unimportant. As I said, micro and macro together makes it. So, but yes, there are certain core concepts. Okay, we'll see. You'll understand tomorrow how our approach will be and how our journey will be. Okay, notes making from static part are both for static and current affairs. Chandrasekhar, someone has already asked. You can just go scroll through the chats and you'll understand the answer to that question. That's where I have said. Name of the book or name of the material doesn't matter. The good test of any book is close the book after reading it,
if you are able to recollect, understand, explain it. See, the test of anything that whether you are able, whether you have understood it or not, is you should be able to explain it to even a school-going kid. The same economic concept, you should be able to explain it to a school-going kid, to an intermediate guy, a +1, +2 guy, and also to a PhD guy. The same topic. That's the test of a good source. So will you be able to do that? So then notes making for static part, or both for static and current affairs. See, if you observe the questions, it's a mix and match of both static and current affairs. Excessive focus being on current affairs. So we'll address that part tomorrow. Okay, Pratisha? How to make notes static part or current affairs or both, we'll address that in tomorrow's class. I'll make sure that I'll address that question. Then will you give daily handouts or notes? There'll be running notes. We won't be dictating notes as such, but you have to write some running notes. Yes, there'll be some important points which so I'll be asking you to note down. I'll mention whether to note, when to note a particular point. Okay. Then how to brush up basics before getting into the classes. As I said, Hanisha, NCRT is one. Okay. I think you have a next session, right? Because of that delay, I'm just stepping over into other lecturers, other faculty's time, which won't look good. Actually, I should apologize him, but still, anyhow, brush up basics. See, I'll be telling you the topics that we are going to do in the next class, even before in the current day's class. So then you can just go through it. As I said, NCRTs are good enough. Okay, that's a good starting point. What book we are going to follow, sir? Okay, regarding those books, I'll tell you. As I know, in the PPT, I'll ask them if it's possible to upload the PPT. If it should be possible. So the sources, I have included some sources as well. As I said, class notes, newspapers. So textbook, there is no one good textbook, Ajay. That's the problem. As I said, there are multiple sources. So there is no one good textbook that I can refer, that I can suggest you to refer. That's what I said. Your own notes at one place. That's it. And any book test is, as I said, the principle. Close the book, recollect. If you're able to understand and explain it to somebody else, then that's a good book. If not, then you either should change the book or the way you understand things. Okay, any other questions? Even if you have any questions, just keep them for yourself. We'll meet again tomorrow. You can ask me then. Okay. Now let's stop the session here. And thank you. Thank you very much, every one of you. Just hold on for a second.
Hello everyone, a very good afternoon to one and all. My name is Vijay Kumar, Faculty of Geography and Environment. So I have 8 years of teaching experience in teaching various online and offline platforms, and I have guided more than 10,000 students, where many of them cracked this examination of UPSC and are present in various services today. And I am in front of you in this particular lecture giving orientation. So what do you mean by orientation? If you have any doubts, if you don't know anything, just like if you don't know A for apple, B for ball, also it's fine. You can ask, because you are at very beginning stage and it is necessary that you clear off all your doubts which are present. So hello everyone, welcome to the session. Hello, very good afternoon to one and all. So in this particular session, we are going to discuss about the strategy, the exact strategy how geography can be cracked. So because many people, they don't have an exact strategy, they start reading the geographies from NCERTs and they come up reading GC Leong, and finally they buy up Savindra Singh, Majid Hussain textbooks, but they wouldn't be in a stage of fulfilling every question which is given by UPSC in the prelims and mains examination. So what exactly is a roadmap? What are the syllabus which has been given by UPSC for the preliminary examination and for the mains examination that we are going to discuss upon it here. So just kindly bear with me for the next 1 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes or 1.5 hours, so that I can give you a clarity of what to read, what not to read, what is the syllabus mentioned by the UPSC, and what kind of questions are being asked by the UPSC, and how geography can be linked with environment and ask question. So there would be separate environment questions, but sometimes geography and environment based questions would be coming. Apart from that, how geography would be related to agriculture, and how the questions biased on agriculture and geography would be coming upon. Clear? So hope everything is clear. So first, foremost thing which we are going to understand is syllabus. See, what is the roadmap to succeed? The roadmap to succeed is to focus upon every syllabus point which has been given by UPSC. Many people, what they would be doing is they would be just reading geography, history, polity, economy, and they say that my UPSC examination is not clearing. But UPSC is not just mirrored by these 4 subjects, right? So we have Indian society, we have international relations, we have social justice, we have ecology, environment, disaster management, science and technology, so ethics. So when you combine every point of the syllabus, then only your success is going to come. So to be succeeded, first and foremost thing, any subject which you start, it is necessary that you have to understand the syllabus. Clear? So before going up with the syllabus, I'll be sharing you, like, you know about the pattern of UPSC. You will be having 3 stages. One is prelims, one is mains, and one is personality test. So in prelims, you would be having 2 papers, general studies paper 1 and the CSAT is paper 2. In general studies, various components have been given from where UPSC tends to ask the question, like world geography and geography of India, the social, economic, political, physical, and every geography, Indian constitution, clear, Indian polity and the constitution, Indian economic growth and development, and ecology and environment, along with the climate change issues, science and technology, and science events which we can implement in everyday life, current affairs of national and international importance, history of India and Indian national movement. This is the syllabus given in preliminary examination, and in that, geography is one core part from where generally questions tend to come. You can't expect how many questions are going to come from geography. It may be 0, even. It may be 15. It may be 9. It may be 6. It may be 21. Any number of questions can come in examination. So you can't exactly say that, sir, this year UPSC has not asked 6 questions. So what is the necessity for reading? So UPSC is not expecting you to read geography so that you can write the answers. UPSC is expecting you to read the geography so that your geographical knowledge can be implemented when you become an administrator. That is what UPSC is expecting. UPSC is not expecting you to read geography just to attempt the questions which are being given in prelims, which are being given in mains. But do you know the knowledge of geography or not? They will be testing you through the questions. That's it. So try to remember this particular point. Apart from that, in UPSC mains, if you see, there are 9 papers completely. Hope everyone know this. If you don't know, at least try to know it now. So in 9 papers, 2 papers are qualifying. One is your mother tongue, clear, mother language, mother tongue, which you speak Telugu, Urdu, Hindi, Sanskrit, whatever it may be. So you can write that particular qualifying paper, and it is 300 mark paper, and out of 300, just 90 marks if you score, then you would be qualified in that. And second paper is English compulsory paper. That paper is also meant for qualifying itself, qualifying in nature. So out of 300, if you get 90, then also it's fine, clear. But they are not added into the merit list. The rest of the 7 papers which are present, they would be added into the merit list. Essay paper, 250 marks. General studies paper 1, 250 marks. General studies paper 2, 250. General studies paper 3, 250. General studies paper 4, 250. Optional paper 1, 250. Optional paper 2, 250. So totally it would be 1750 marks, which UPSC considers for your merit. So this is the score. This is the aspect where you can score maximum. And interview is for 275, and God knows and luck favors hard work. Everything comes into picture. So out of 275, how much you deliver, how much performance you would be giving, how much impressed the chairman would be, those many marks you are getting. On an average, 150 plus 170, 180 is assumed to be very good score if you are going good scores, if you are scoring good scores in your mains examination. Here out of 2025, if you are able to score somewhere around 1000, then you would be in the top 50 list. You would be in the top 50 list. Here. So this is the outline of the syllabus, and what is present in GS paper 1. We have history, Indian society, world geography, and Indian geography. So geography syllabus I'll be describing just now. I'll be interpreting the syllabus. And second paper, roughly it is Indian polity and constitution, governance and social justice, international organizations and relations. GS paper 3, economy, growth and development, including inclusive growth, science and technology, agricultural issues, disaster management, environment and ecology, internal security and border management. And paper 4, ethics, integrity, aptitude. Here. So from this, generally the questions tend to come. This is the outline syllabus which I have sent. If you want the detailed syllabus, you can just visit the UPSC website and you will be finding it. And if you just Google it, the main syllabus of UPSC, you will be getting it. No issues with it. Clear? So first, foremost thing, before we start up with the lectures, it is important for us to keep a target that are you going to crack the examination, or are you going to just appear the examination? We have two things. If you are going to crack, it takes immense hard work. Clear? Yes, smart work should be there, but hard work along with smart work gives you the better results. So are you just going to crack the exam, or are you going to just appear for the exam? So option is yours. If you are going to crack the exam, every corner of the syllabus you have to know. Without seeing the syllabus copy, just every point of the syllabus has to be present in your mind. Frankly speaking with you, if you understand the syllabus, if you know the syllabus, then 120%, it is true that your 50% preparation would be in the grips of your hands. Why? What is the reason behind it is, for example, we will open Hindu newspaper and we will get an article related with urbanization. And is the urbanization has to be read or not? You will get a doubt. If you know, in GS paper 1, you have the concept called as urbanization. If you understand, if you know that urbanization is present in your GS paper 1 syllabus, then you will read that particular article of urbanization in Hindu newspaper. And the topic of urbanization would be appeared at least for next 10 times within a year. Either the social urbanizations or the consequences of urbanizations or the implementations of urbanizations or related with the smart city missions related with urbanizations. If government take up with any scheme related with urbanization, so they will be coming across with these particular aspects. Do remember this particular point. So in that particular regard, if you understand why you are reading that particular aspect in newspaper, because you know the syllabus in GS paper 1, we have the topic of urbanization. For example, another topic like globalization. So if you understand, if you open the newspaper and if you have seen the article called as globalization, and in GS paper 1, when you open it, you have globalization and impacts on the Indian society. If you understand that particular syllabus, yes, it is done. If you understand the topic, if you open the newspaper in editorial, if you find a topic like role of civil services in Indian society, you know in GS paper 2, you have the syllabus called as role of civil services in the society. So done, your 50% syllabus. Why? Because in the newspaper, you will be reading that particular article. Within the newspaper, you will be reading that particular article. Please try to remember this. When you understand the syllabus, when you have grip on the syllabus, 120% it is true. Your preparation is 50% in your hand. Rest to 50 depends upon understanding, reading, understanding the concept in the classes, reading the material provided by the institutes or supplemented by the institute or guided by the faculty. Third depends upon how much you understand and what you have presented on the paper. And is the presentation enough or not? Making that particular presentation to be evaluated by the faculty and taking the guidance that these points have to be implemented in that particular score. So if you do these particular works, then it is done. But the utmost primary thing, the primary thing which you have to remember, is understanding the syllabus. So first point in this orientation class, I am going to make you understand the syllabus. Please by heart the syllabus. Every corner of the syllabus we are going to cover in the upcoming 105 hours as designed by the institute. So the next upcoming 3 months, one slot would be of geography and you would be covered with every portion of the syllabus. Clear? So shall we move further? Any doubts until now? Anyone, people who are live, if you have any doubts, please let me know. I'll be helping in that regard through the text. You can drop a message if you have any doubts. As I have said, if you don't know what A for apple is, then also please ask me. I can understand. Clear? If you are not able to understand it, I can understand that you are not understanding. So I'll be clearing. I am very good listener. Even if you speak any rubbish in the class regarding with the subject, also I'll listen. But the thing is that clarity has to come into your mind. If you don't know how many planets are there in the solar system, then also please do ask me. I'll say there are 8 planets, 9th planet is eliminated. But don't keep a kind of doubt in concern in your mind, thinking that what faculty would be thinking, what rest of the people would be thinking. If you have that particular aspect in your mind, then gone. No one can help you. Are you understanding this point? Writing the notes for NCERTs is not important. What I suggest is from 6th to 12th NCERT, let it be new NCERT or old NCERT. Just before we start up with the core geography, within the next upcoming 2 to 3 days, we'll start up with geography, right? So once go through the geography NCERTs very quickly, you will understand from 6th to 10th, it is very easy to understand. So just go through it, highlight it, clear. And if you want to write something, government has given enough space on the top pages of NCERTs. Government has given enough space. You can write the keywords over there. No need to write separate notes. Notes you can, I'll be providing you the material. As I've said, the soft copies would be provided or the hard copies would be provided from the institute. So I'll be giving that material would be sufficient. Just I'll let you know how it would be done, clear, through this particular lecture. And in class, if I say you can write these particular points in class, if I say Please do mention these particular points, then you can make it. And once you read the material which I would be providing, you can make a crisp notes out of it. No need to rewrite it. Rewriting doesn't mean anything. Clear? Yes, Tanushri, I'm explaining the same. Once you understand the 5 lines of syllabus, you will get a clarity on what you have to read in the geography. These are the exact lines I have copied it from UPSC syllabus which have been given. So once you can interpret this, then it is very much easy. Okay. So once you finish this lecture, your doubts would be clarified, Tanushri. Now, first line of the syllabus, see, salient features of world physical geography. Line is appearing very simple, right? It is appearing like there would be some 10 salient features of world physical geography. If we read that, we will understand the entire line of syllabus of salient features of world physical geography. So within the world physical geography, generally along the world physical geography, we have 3 major aspects, 3 major branches of geography. And those 3 main branches of geography includes geomorphology, climatology, and oceanography. Do remember this particular point. In this salient features of world physical geography, you have 3 aspects. One is geomorphology, one is climatology, one is oceanography. Geomorphology is about understanding about the interior of the earth and as well as the earth surface. During the formation of earth, do you really think the earth surface which you are seeing now, the same earth surface has been found during like 3 million years ago? No. So when the earth was formed, it might have been in another state. Under different processes, the earth surface might have changed, and the present situation of the earth surface is modifications which happened in the geological time scale of the earth. Have you seen the formation of Himalayas? Just by sitting in front of Himalayas, have you seen it? No. Have you seen the earthquake happening? Yes, we can experience the earthquake. But all the earthquakes, have you observed because of the modifications created by the earthquakes? Have you observed? No. Have you seen the mountain building process? Have you seen the plain formation? No. So all these modified aspects we would be reading under the concept of geomorphology. Geo means earth, morphology means modification. So how that got modified? What are the factors which influenced the modification of earth? Endogenic, exogenic forces. What do you meant by different theories? What are the different theories propounded by different geographers who made us to understand about different formations? Those aspects related with the earth surface that we would be seeing in this particular geomorphology. Geomorphology is one particular branch of the first aspect, that is salient features of world physical geography. And the second branch which we have is climatology. In the world physical geography, the second branch is climatology. Fine, climatology, you know, climatology is having a word called as climate. So reading about the climate is climatology. Very simple. Reading about the atmosphere is climatology. Very simple. But it is not that simple to understand certain concepts like jet streams, how deserts are formed, why deserts are formed. If you see major world's hot and dry deserts which are present, if you see Sonoran Mojave Desert of North America, Saharan Desert of Africa, West Asian deserts like Arabian deserts, Daste Kavir, Daste Lut deserts, Thar Desert of India, Atacama Desert of South America, Kalahari Desert, Namib Desert of South African provinces, Simpson Desert, Sandy Deserts of Australia. Why these deserts are present on the tropical locations is the biggest question. No one knows why these deserts are formed on tropics. And one more interesting thing is, world's almost all the hot and dry deserts, they are located in hot, like tropical locations. Why? What is the reason? we will understand that. What is the reason behind it? And if you understand one more point, that if you see these world's hot and dry deserts every time, they are located on the western portions of continents or countries. Have you seen this particular point? If you open the atlas, you will find almost all the deserts located on the western margins of the countries or continents. Why? What is the reason behind it? The reason behind it is clear. So the reason which we have and the reason behind it is, we will understand within the climatology section. Then it is very, very important for you to understand these particular aspects. Clear? And concepts like cyclones, why cyclones are formed mostly in Bay of Bengal, why not in Arabian Sea, that we will understand. Why cyclones are created mostly along South China Sea, we will understand. Gulf of Mexico, we will understand. And we will understand different types of cyclones like temperate cyclone, tropical cyclones, anticyclones. So here you have to get the conceptual clarity. And we will understand about how the cloud formation happens. Why cumulonimbus clouds? Hope you have seen many times when we have heavy rainfalls, we will find the clouds very darkish in color. Clear? Wow, what are those clouds called as? And why we have those cumulonimbus cloud formations? So how condensation process happens? What are the different types of rainfalls? Why we have rainfall? Why not snowfall? Why Himalayas have snowfall? Why not rainfall? All these typical concepts which are present, there we would be understanding them. Are you getting this? Vasudev ji, due to cold current, yes, you are saying one important approximate reason, but that is not only the reason. We have many other reasons why we have the hot and dry deserts located on the western margins of the countries or continents. Clear? Please do remember this particular point. It is very, very important. Done. And if you see, like the third branch of salient features of world physical geography says about oceanography. Oceans being and having the largest parts. They cover approximately 71% of the entire land or like entire Earth surface. So those oceans would be playing very crucial role. They will be playing a crucial role on influencing the lithosphere or atmosphere. And these oceans are the major grounds for the moisture, water vapor facilities, and the hydrological cycle to be finished. Without the presence of oceans, our life existence on that surface might not have happened. That's why reading these oceans as a separate branch of physical geography, it is very, very essential. Are you getting this point? So, in this particular regard of oceanography, we will understand about what is the bottom relief of the ocean and what are the different movements of the oceanic waters like waves, tides, oceanic currents, and their influences either on the temperature, on the physical aspects. And we will understand the concept of salinity and temperature distributions of the oceans. And we will understand the concept of coral reefs. And also we will understand the concept of oceanic deposits. So it is very, very important for you to understand these particular points. Done. Are you getting this, everyone? So it is very, very important for us to understand these particular aspects. So these three branches of geography, which are included in the world physical geography, if you understand this, somewhere around 40 hours, it would be taking 35 to 40 hours. So we would be having clear coverage of this particular line. This particular alone line would be taking 35 to 40 hours in the entire geography classes. And when you understand this particular line of syllabus, maximum questions in UPSC, they tend to come from this particular world physical geography section. If you understand the conceptual clarity within the world physical geography, it is very much easy for you to understand the rest lines of the syllabus very easily. That's why The first line of the syllabus, the salient features of world physical geography, is very, very important to you. And related with mapping, in between the lectures itself, you will be done with different map based works like location of geographical features across the world and location of some important map based locations. Example, recently Israel Palestine issue, within the process of Jerusalem and Gaza Strip, there was an issue associated with them. So such kind of contemporary map based works and those maps which are very much important, those geographical locations. So we will be doing the map work along with these particular lectures. Like while I explain the Andes mountain range formations of South America, I will ask you to locate the Andes mountain ranges in South America by opening the atlas within the class itself. Every aspirant who is coming to the lectures, so please try to get Oxford Student Atlas, or else if you are not aware, like you are not interested in buying that, you can buy Orient Black Swan also, but my preferable choice is Oxford Student Atlas. So you can get any one of them, but my preferable choice is Oxford Student Atlas. Clear? So apart from that, coming to the second line of the syllabus. The second line of the syllabus says key natural resources distribution across the world, including South Asia and India, but it is not including, it is giving special emphasis to South Asia and India. So we will try to understand about different mineral resources, different energy resources distribution, and various other resources distribution across the world. Like water is a resource, soil is a resource. Clear? Everything we will try to understand. But by giving special emphasis with India. For example, if we are reading about iron ore distribution, just we will try to locate important significant areas of iron ore distribution across the world. But while reading in India, we will see the entire iron ore distribution in India. Across the world, there is no necessity that every corner of iron ore we have to read. No one will ask, explain the iron ore distribution across the world. And in India, what is the necessary for understanding every point of iron ore distribution is? In India, the industrial locations like iron and steel industry and the rest of the industries, they are located near to the iron ore resource. As of now, the trend is changing. That is a secondary issue, but we have to understand. So giving special emphasis with India, we will be understanding about the key natural resources. Let it be different soils, water, different agricultural crop. It is also a key natural resource, different vegetations across the world, different forest covers across the world. So all these key natural resources we will understand across the world and giving special emphasis to India regarding this point. So if you understand this key natural resource distribution across the world and India, it is very simple that you understand this particular third line of syllabus. For example, factors responsible for location of primary, secondary, and tertiary industries. Generally, if you want to locate an industry, what are the major factors? Can anyone say? If you want to locate an industry, what are the major factors? Can anyone say? Labor resources, absolutely true, absolutely reverse. Natural resources, yes, land, labor, transport, availability of resources, absolute, absolute, perfect, everyone. Perfect, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Scientific method, can you elaborate this? Scientific method, strategic location, good point. Research, okay. So everyone is having an idea, right? But UPSC doesn't ask a question, explain the factors responsible for the location of industry. UPSC will ask, what are the major factors which are forcing food processing industries to locate in northwestern India? Or what are the factors which are forcing industries to establish along the Himalayan belt. Or they will be asking a question in this sense, like, what are the factors which made the cotton and textile industries to have a shift from Mumbai to Ahmedabad and Coimbatore? Earlier, Mumbai was under the cotton belt and Mumbai was a strategic location. Mumbai was having a port. Mumbai was having cheap skilled labor. Mumbai was having capital investment. Mumbai was an urban center connected with good transportation. All these factors were there. But why? What made these factors to drain, and what made cotton and textile industries to shift from Mumbai to Ahmedabad and Mumbai to Coimbatore locations? They will ask a question on this. In 2020 UPSC paper also, they have not asked a question on what are the factors which made iron and steel industry distribution to locate in these regions. They have asked what factors have made dethrone the traditional factors and what factors are influencing in the present scenario for the establishment of iron and steel industry. Are you getting this point? They won't be asking you about what are the factors responsible for location of iron and steel industry. What are the factors responsible for location of cotton textile industry? What are the factors responsible for establishment of jute textile industry? They will be asking some innovative questions, indirect questions, some strategy based questions, some contemporary issue based questions. They will ask, recently we have seen a trend of shifting of sugar mills from North India to South India. Discuss the reasons associated with it. They will ask this question. Clear? So these kind of questions would be asked. No direct questions generally UPSC encourages, because these are all school standard questions. Explain the factors responsible for iron and steel industry. Explain the factors responsible for cotton and textile industry. All these are school based questions. No one is going to ask this. Only those questions which are innovative, which are extremely important. Like if you understand the topic of shifting of industries, then they will be asking. Or else they will be asking, in the present sense, industrial inertia has become a major factor for the location of industries. Discuss how industrial inertia is pulling industries towards it. They will be asking these questions. Here the word has been very simple. Explain, like from the third line of syllabus, factors responsible for primary, secondary and tertiary industries. But we have to interpret this in our sense. We have to interpret this particular line in our sense. So for this to be understood, this has to be understood. If you understand the distribution, then only you can understand the location of industries. For example, for iron and steel industry, we are required with iron ore, coal, manganese, limestone, etc. But these are most important aspects like water, skilled labor, cheap labor, good transportation. These are major factors. But raw material is very important factor because it is having the raw material which is weight losing industry. For example, if you manufacture 1 kg of iron and steel, like raw pig iron, if you manufacture, for that you have to have 1 ton of iron ore. So it means 1 ton of iron ore is giving only 1 kg of raw pig iron. So what does it mean? If you establish this iron and steel industry near to the market location, so it won't be justified. Are you getting this point? So in this way, why near to the raw material location? There are certain industries which are weight gaining industries, which can be established near to the market. So I have to differentiate what are the weight losing industries, what are the weight gaining industries, and what are the neutral industries, and what is the exact location, and what is Weber's industrial location theory, and what Weber has said, if there is some other case, like if that particular industry requires 2 raw materials, which are very important, then what would be the best strategic location? So by understanding and having an influence of Weber's industrial location theory, we will appreciate this particular factors responsible for location of primary, secondary and tertiary industries. Done. And the next event is next part of syllabus which has been mentioned for you, that is important geophysical phenomena like cyclones, earthquakes, volcanism and tsunamis. Important geophysical phenomena like cyclones, earthquakes, volcanism and tsunami. So these things we tend to cover in the salient features of world physical geography itself. So like cyclones would be covered in climatology, earthquakes, volcanism and tsunami would be covered in geomorphology. Are you getting this? So there is nothing separate appreciation for this. There is inbuilt appreciation within the world physical geography. So there shall be inbuilt appreciation for this particular world physical geography. So please try to remember this clear. So apart from that, if you see the third line of syllabus which is present, that is geographical features and its location, as some of you were asking about the mapping. So the geographical features and where they are located. What are the countries bordering Mediterranean Sea? What are the countries bordering Caspian Sea? What are the countries bordering North Sea? Where is Strait of Gibraltar? Where is Isthmus of Panama? Where is Davis Strait? Where is Red Sea and what are the countries having association with Red Sea? Where is Park Strait? Where are Hindu Kush mountains? Where are different deserts which I have said? Where are different lakes? Where are different rivers? Where are different vegetations? And through which countries latitudes, longitudes pass? Every aspect of geographical location. Where is South China Sea? Where is Marine Trench? Where is Philippines Trench? Where is Chile-Peru Trench? So all these geographical locations would be marked while explaining within the lectures itself. In between, you will be having marked up of this geographical location and you will also be marked. We have the map-based session and you will also be included with the map-based aspect of mapping certain areas which are very important in the contemporary aspect. Clear? So it is very, very important. Please try to remember it. Done. So it is very, very important. Done. So and along with this line of syllabus itself, we have another line like changes in critical geographical features. Because of human settlement pattern, there was an influence of Aral Sea. There was an influence of Lake Baikal. There was an influence on Dead Sea. There was some influence along the Persian Gulf. So those changes in critical geographical locations or critical geographical features, and what are the reasons for such kind of change and why the change has happened. What is the flora and fauna which got changed? It means what is the forestry got changed, what is the fauna got changed. However, in the environmental geography, we will appreciate within the Indian nature, but across the world, we will appreciate within the geography itself. What has made this particular fauna to dismantle from that particular region? Like example, Amazon forest fire, Australian bushfire. So what were the reasons which made this? And what was the influence after such kind of incidents? So those things we would be learning along with the changes which are happening because of global warming concepts and the changes of melting of polar ice caps. So those convectional and non-convectional points also we would be learning these particular aspects in this lecture. Hope these 5 lines of syllabus have been appreciated and understood. Strategy, there is no such kind of standard book. That is what the reason I am saying. Like in the upcoming slides, we will understand what are the things to be read because geography can't be compensated from a single book, as the polity can be compensated through Lakshmikant, like modern history can be compensated through the spectrum. So we can't compensate this. I'll just say you what and from where to study. Yes, you have to draw few maps, like before the lecture would be starting. Once the lecture starts, I will suggest you how to draw it. So first, as we are reading world physical geography, I'll try to mark and draw the world geography within the class itself. There is a technique related with it, not having, like in childhood we used to trace directly, right, from the atlas, but that is not the point. So how to draw and when to draw, where to draw, once the classes start, from the first I'll be explaining you. NCERT 6 to 12 would be better for, yes, they would be better for preparing, but they are not enough for preparing. If you read from 6th to 12th, you can finish the 6th to 12th within 1 week span of time, not more than that. My suggestion is leave out maximum 12th, read up to 11th itself. In 12th you have human geography, not necessary, but if you have time you can go through it. But 6th to 12th, read it very fastly, don't write any notes. Just by sitting 2 to 3 hours you can read 6th. Just if you read, like in a day you can complete 6, 7, 8. Second day you complete 9, 10. Third, fourth day you complete 11th part 1, like salient features of world physical geography. And part B you complete within the 5-6 days. So within 5 to 6 days you can read it off. Just read whatever you don't understand, stay hold on with while the topic comes in the class, while the topic would be taught in the class. So then you start asking the doubts. Okay, I have read this, I did not understand this, so I have to understand this. So in that way you can prepare it. I'll suggest, but 6th to 12th are preferable to have a basic knowledge, and people who are already having geography as their base, they can just skip off the NCERTs and they can read the material. Clear? Is this clear for everyone? Done. Resources. Any doubts you can just drop the text. Done. So what are the resources to be followed? These resources I am saying for those people who have zero knowledge with geography. If you have geography as your graduation, then 6th to 12th, like you can skip it off, but once you can go through it. Why I am saying NCERTs? Why I am saying NCERTs is there are certain keywords which you have to understand. By sitting in the class, you should not be able to be in that position of understanding the difference between conventional and non-conventional sources of energy. By sitting in the class, this is not expectable. Then, so for such kind of terms, like for such kind of basics, you have to understand what is a mountain and what is a hill, what is a plateau. So for such kind of smaller basic keywords, it is essential that you have to read 6th to 12th new NCERT ones. If you are, while reading 6th and 7th, if it is like, some people will feel that, sir, it is very much easy, clear, so I need more better standard. This feeling comes for most of the people. Then you skip 6th to 10th, then just start reading 11th and 12th. Just start reading 11th and 12th. That's it. Are you getting this point? Yes, they might conventional used for large scale, that is different thing, but you have to understand what are conventional and non-conventional sources of energy, right? Okay. So NCERTs are, like just I have said, they are necessary, but they are not sufficient. This is, mark my word. So this is very important. Second aspect is map-based knowledge. As I have said, you can buy Orient Black Swan or Orient Student Atlas. So map-based knowledge, if like as everyone know, institute is providing the valuable material from its side, along with the reference book, it will also provide valuable material. So if institute doesn't give this, you buy it accordingly. Clear? You may buy Oxford or Orient Blackspan, anything is fine for me. Huh? So it might be Orient Student or Orient Blackspan. Within the class itself, we would be understanding, as I've said, if there is any contemporary word, contemporary like geographical location in the news, that I'll say, please mark this particular locations. If Bosphorus Strait would be in the news, Hormuz Strait was in the news. So such kind of straits, water bodies, geographical locations, I'll say you can mark. And the conventional geography marking, we would be doing it, however. Done. So why this is very much important is, understanding geography is very much easy. If you have greater knowledge on map-based aspect, for example, while understanding certain theories of geomorphology, we'll understand continental drift theory, seafloor spreading process, plate tectonics theory. And I will ask you to imagine Atlantic Ocean. And I say, in the Atlantic Ocean beneath, we have disparate volcanism where we would be having mid-oceanic ridge formations in a S-shaped structure. So without opening atlas, you would be in a position, you should be in a position of assuming the world map, assuming Atlantic Ocean, assuming that. If I speak anything related with Mediterranean type of climate or Mediterranean Sea, if I say Sirocco wind blows along the Mediterranean Sea and reaches Italy, without opening map, you have to figure it out. Okay, down we have Saharan Desert, we have Sirocco wind which bypasses, because Mediterranean Sea is present north of it, just bypassing it, it reaches Italy. When you have this imagination, so these imagination skills, I don't ask you to develop within a fortnight. It takes a bit amount of time, 1 month, 2 months, but you will be developing these skills. So once the imagination comes, because we can't practically go and see in the Pacific Ocean, is the trench created or not? We can't go into the Pacific Ocean and can't see, is the volcanism happening or not? So we can't see them. As we can't see them, we have to have the imagination skills. Do you think everyone, while we understand about Himalayas, everyone will have a tour and go to Himalayas and let's see Himalayas formation and all? No. We don't have that much amount of time. Only 1 year of preparation, first attempt, cracking the civil services. This is what we are having. So imagination. For that imagination, map work helps you a lot for this point. And along with that, after reading the NCERTs, generally, class notes I'll be giving you. As I've said, every point I may not be dictating for you to write it. Please do write it. But I'll be giving you certain key points or diagrammatical representations where you can have a note upon it. Along with that, I'll be providing you some value-added material. So in the initial days of the class, like within the 4 to 5 days of the class, when it origins, when it starts, clear, I'll be giving you value-added material. So these both are sufficient for 50%. 30 you are gaining knowledge from this. 50 you will be gaining knowledge from this. No need to this value-added material which I would be providing from the institute. So that is culmination, the best available print like materials in the market. Like, so I love reading Samindra Singh, I love reading Majid Hussain, I love reading PMFIS material, and I am the content writer for that particular PMFIS material also. And along with that, I love reading various Majid Hussain human geography books. If you only read these many books for geography, it takes 8,000 to 10,000 pages for you to cover. Are you going to cover it? Are you going to cover 10,000 pages within 3 months? No, absolutely. It would be a wonder if you cover. So that's why this material which we would be providing, it is a compilation of all materials available in the market, reference book available in the market. It is compilation of everything. Wherever I have got very good and understandable point, I picked it and dropped it. So are you going to read those 10,000 pages, or are you going to read just 500 to 600 pages of material which I give? Choice is yours. I'll give the reference books. Reference books apart from NCERTs are G.C. Leong, done. Savindra Singh for physical geography. For Indian geography, either you can take Majid Hussain or Kullar. For human geography, you can consider Majid Hussain mostly. Clear? So, is the entire thing would be covered? We don't know. So, are you going to cover all those, or are you just going to cover this material which I am giving, which is compiled of all those books? See, I am not saying I have created new material. I am not even taking that respect of material which I have prepared. I have just edited the material. That's it. Wherever I have found a good point, I have took it, I have kept, cut, copy, paste. That's it. Apart from that, I did nothing. But I did this because every aspirant, every student who comes under me to read geography, they should not be in a state of confusion, either to read the Indian geography from Kullar or Majid Hussain, and start reading both, ending up failing in both, finally ending up failing in civil services. So my main motto was, the student who comes, he has to appreciate this material, which is a compilation of all the books available in the market. Let it be resources, reference books, or the materials which are across from India. Wherever I have found good point, I have dropped into it directly. I am not even editor of this book. I'm just compiler of this book. So best thing is you read this. Class notes, this NCERT. Done. And current affairs, however, you will be reading. So some aspects you won't fix exactly found in all the books even. So for that, you can refer to the internet. Internet is also a good source. Many people criticize like what we find in internet. But if you don't know a particular term, understanding that from internet is not a bad thing. Let you read it from Wikipedia or let you read it from some other place. Understanding it is very good, right? So it is essential that 100% you have to have usage of internet. So these are the only cut short resources. If you read this, I can assure you 90% of the questions which come in prelims and mains, you will be in a position to solve it. 90% of questions, 90, I'm speaking about 90, even not 100, I'm not taking 100% also. 90 questions, you will be able to solve it. What this point? So what you want to read, you choose. Being a mentor, I said, this material I have prepared after reading 20 books. Either you can read this or you can go for reading 20 books. Whatever your choice is favorable in your condition, you can do it. Yeah, Deva, you can directly read it from the 11th NCERT, but if you don't understand any keyword, then again back to basics, 6th. So not giving the daily notes, generally I'll have the presentation backside and the diagrammatical representation backside, and I'll dictate the notes. You can write it with your hands. The entire geography material I'll be giving you in one single term. Part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 6 parts of geography I'll be giving you in one hand. Not every day 2 paper handout, because I don't feel like every day how much we can cover, we don't know. It depends upon the understanding which you have and the explaining which I am having. If both are having the medium sequence, then the class goes very smoothly. Otherwise, if you find any doubt, the class rises with the doubts, right? So apart from, I don't feel like handout would be perfect. I'll give the entire material once and I'll say refer this part, refer this part, refer this part. You can refer to that part. Any practical question will they ask related to data processing? Like they might ask, but not in geography, right, ma'am? Data processing is not that effective in geography, but they might ask. Who knows? UPSC is Unpredictable Service Commission, right? No, like NCERTs also we need to take notes. Don't write anything from NCERTs. Just highlight the points while you read NCERTs. And if you find any keyword just above NCERT, you will have good amount of space. Just write the keyword. If you want the meaning of keyword, you can search on internet, you can ask me. You can do it from anywhere. You can understand the keyword meaning and you can keep it off. Don't write separate notes. So one or 2 days within the class starts. If the class is going to start on the first, second, third, you will be getting all the handouts in the PDF format. So once I'll have a confirmation with the institute, are they going to give it in a hard copy way, or are they going to give in a soft copy? Once I can confirm, you have to have a confirmation with the institutes. Are you going to get soft copy or hard copy? Once I have to confirm the same with the institute. Done. Any doubts on this? Clear? Until now, everything clear? So that hard copy and soft copy, I can't comment, right? So once I have to have a greater confirmation with the institute, then only I can comment. Now, see, many things, this image has clicked me very essentially, because while preparing for UPSC, you will be feeling like, yes, I am okay, but back to you, you will find like you will be having this particular aspect, like either to take coaching or not. If I take, where I have to take it. Done. This is the first thing which will be pinching you from back. Apart from that, what daily routine should I have? These are the questions which pinches you every day. Daily routine, should I have a daily routine like a successful aspirant? Like, do I have a daily routine like for myself, or do I have a daily routine who is a failure person? Here, these things like you will be having. What would be the test series course, daily newspaper, revision notes, bad health during different seasons, like during this pandemic also. So dad's retirement, love life, answer writing, PCS preparation, option B, option C in the examination. So these all things are back to this, but still you will feel like I'm okay, I'm preparing for civil services. The only thing is, whatever might be the obstacle which would be coming in your life, don't think much about it. Just be in the position, because emotional intelligence is one thing which UPSC aspirant has to have inbuilt in it. It might not be present in a default way, but it can be developed with the obstacles which generally comes in the life of a UPSC aspirant. Done. The new batches start from July 1st. That is right now. Day after tomorrow, the batch is going to start. Clear? Exactly. So you can confirm with the institute related with the timings and the schedule. So on July 1st, the batch is going to start. Clear? So now what is our roadmap? Until now, like we have seen the roadmap. First thing is check the syllabus perfectly. Until now, we have seen the syllabus only for geography. So you have to see the syllabus for every subject. Then only you will have a greater grip in the mind, like what to read, what not to read. Second is interpreting the syllabus. How I have interpreted the syllabus right now. I have interpreted the syllabus, and once I see previous year questions, I can justify, yes, from this portion of syllabus, this question has come. So interpreting the syllabus and checking the previous year questions, this is very, very important. Before the lectures which are going to start on July 1st, try to get the book of previous year prelims question paper Disha publication book. You will find it in Amazon, Flipkart, or anywhere in the market. So once you get that particular book, try to see what questions UPSC has asked until now in the prelims. What way, don't solve the questions even, I'm saying just to see the questions. If you start solving them, you can't solve them, because you might have less conceptual clarity, you might have less factual information with you, you might have not understood the concept well earlier. So all these roughy things come into picture if you start solving them. What I'm saying is, just go through the past papers which UPSC has asked in prelims and mains for the last 5 years. Why I'm saying you this is, if you once go and see the previous year questions, you will understand what UPSC wants from you. Reading everything is rubbish. Reading that which UPSC is required, that is more important. So understanding the 2011 Census of Population, reading in which district we have highest amount of SC population, reading in which state we have highest amount of urban population, reading how much population is present in Ladakh, what is the exact figure, what is the population present in Jaisalmer. All these things are knowledge. They will give you knowledge, they will give you information, they will give you census data, they will not give you UPSC rank. What is relevant, what is not relevant, that is very important, which you have to learn. What is relevant and what is not relevant. So when you shall understand that what is relevant or not, that you shall understand once checking the previous year questions. Otherwise, you won't understand what UPSC is asking. You will only understand what UPSC is asking once you understand what they are asking in prelims and mains. So after seeing the syllabus, interpret the syllabus, then try to check the previous year questions. If you are not getting the book, no issues, go to UPSC website, you can download the papers. Not an issue for you. Then start accumulating precise resources perfectly. Just now I have said, right? Like I have said, I am giving you compilation of 20 books. You take PMFIS, you take Majid Hussain, you take Kullar. Every point wherever I felt good, wherever I felt that it is relevant for UPSC, I picked that point and I have dropped. This is the only work which I have did. Are you going to read that work? You are fine. You can read, you have that freedom. Or are you going to read all the 20 years of books, 20 books? It is also fine for you. But within 1 year, you can't read those many books. For geography, if you are reading 20, then for polity, for history. So that is the issue which arises. Time management wouldn't be possible. Then after accumulating the perfect resources, fix on to it. Read less, but revise more. Read less, revise more, think more. Not only revising more, but also thinking more. Gandhiji has come to India in 1916. Gandhi has come, it is fine. What he did, by then, Annibersant Home Rule movement was happening. Why he entered into all these movements of Indigo Revolt, Ahmedabad Mill Strike? What was the necessity? Why he made Jallianwala Bagh tragedy a Black Tragedy Act? Why he has given his title, which was given by Rabindranath Tagore? Why he has actually started non-cooperation movement? Thinking, imagination, thinking is important. What made Gandhi to not speak related with Bhagat Singh, with the Viceroy or Secretary of the State? He might have begged, right, for the life of Bhagat Singh, but why he did not do so? And when he was speaking with Bhagat Singh, why Bhagat Singh refused to say sorry? And why Gandhi has quit active politics? And why he come back? During the Second World War, why Gandhi came back? And when Gandhi has came back, why Gandhi has took these two weapons only, Ahimsa and Satyagraha? Why not any other weapons? Thinking. In geography, why cyclone in Bay of Bengal? Why not in Arabian Sea? Why tigers only in Sundarban Delta? Why not in Thar Desert? Why golden langur in this location of Arunachal Pradesh? Why not anywhere? Thinking. Why industries only in Mumbai, Pune? Why not mostly in Nagpur? Why green revolution only in Punjab? Why not in Mirzapur? Why? Question. Logic. When you understand the logic behind it, it is very important. Understanding the logic is very important. UPSC will ask the contemporary questions itself. UPSC will ask contemporary questions itself. So you have to be aware with contemporary. You have to read precise resources, read less, think more, revise more the same books related with current issues. Current affairs, that's why play a crucial role. They might not be asking a direct question from current affair, but if they have asked a question on Gandhiji, there might be some background associated with the Gandhiji. Are you getting this point? In this way, precise the resources very perfectly. Apart from that, Like as everyone, most of you have joined the VISHNU IAS in the Parivarthan batch. As you know, what is the team who are going to deal up with the general studies. So as you have already joined, every faculty is introducing himself in this Parivarthan batch, what are the things to do, what not to do. So this is the perfect thing which you have did. So people who did not join, like try to join as soon as possible so that you can associate with the classes from July 1st. Yeah. So once you join, you will be having a detailed conceptual clarity at the classes. Every faculty in their own subjective manner, they will make you understand about different concepts and revise the things daily on the daily basis, whatever the things happen in the class. Current affairs you will be reading daily, however you will be reading it and adding up. Once the subject classes are done, test your knowledge by solving MCQs. Once the subject is done, geography is done, then solve previous year questions, then solve test series. Then you will understand at what position you are. Unless and until you test yourself, you won't understand where you are standing. Done. So leave the things which you know the most. For example, if I know what is Article 32 in polity, if I know like what is the capital of Uttarakhand, if I know where Jim Corbett National Park is, if I know what are the tributaries of Indus River system, don't read them most. Read the things most which you don't know. But this has become a human psyche that they will be reading the things which they know the most and they won't read the things which they don't know the most. So mostly focus on the things which you don't know. Don't every time bias towards the things which you know. That is most important aspect here. So after getting greater command on the subject, start writing the mains answers. You can build structuring of the answers while the classes are going on. So while the class is going on, if I say write few points related with Great Plains, few points related with the plate tectonics, you can write it. Structure of answer you can develop during the classes itself. But completion of answers you can do it once you get the command on the subject of conceptual clarity. Read every day, every subject the same, like every subject is very important. Let it be history, polity, chemistry, science, economy, anything. Every subject has equal significance. Give priority to every part of the syllabus because UPSC means Unpredictable Service Commission, as you know. So they will be giving you every corner of the syllabus. They will be sticking to every part. So please try to read every subject the same. And as I've said, read less, think more, and revise large. This is the only mantra which generally comes out into the picture. And this is a meme for you, which is the most selective meme. You can see this. Contemporary means it is current issues. Tanuji, it is current issues. Current issues. So new study material would be available in the market. Sincere UPSC aspirant, what he would be doing is just he would be looking and walks away, doesn't distract himself. Believe in revising the same material. Don't believe in buying all the materials which are available in the market. I think this particular meme from the internet attracts you the most. So don't every time go and walk in the markets and don't buy every material present in the market. That would be the biggest foolish aspect. So what happens at Parivarthan batch for geography, I'll be saying. From basic to advanced level, syllabus of coverage, every portion of syllabus which I have said, the 5 lines of syllabus, every portion would be covered effectively. And as I've said, don't expect solar system to be covered. So healthy discussion on every topic. As I have said, if you don't know anything also, I'll make you a master in geography. From novice to master, 100% after my classes, you'll become master in geography. Checking the questions appeared at each topic at prelims and mains. Already I've said this is the 3rd stage which you have to do. So contemporary aspects would be covered wherever they are necessary. And doubt clearing sessions within the class as well as within the institute after the class also you can discuss up with me. I'll be available for some span of time. Discussion of some model answers and cheat codes to crack geography very easily. Special emphasis on map based questions. So these are the things which generally would be covered within the Parivarthan batch for geography. Done. So things to do, like You can listen to the toppers, not listen to the toppers, that's your issue. Clear? If that is effective, if the toppers talk is effective to you, then you can follow. Or else if you want to make, you can follow the same. Make your own strategy which is comfort for you, because every one across the world, they will get different question papers in their life. So accordingly, with your comfort zone, make your strategy. Don't buy every stupid material available in the market, as I've said, and don't create a library at your home. Don't discuss much preparation with the people who down to hesitate you. Here, don't say them you are preparing for civil, just say them I'm roaming around, I'm not understanding. Don't blame others, all the cripple strategies, don't trust anyone. Just believe in yourselves. For the next 1 year, believe in yourself, 100% rank would be yours. Okay, be unique in writing, be unique in thinking, be unique in understanding. Done. So finally, this is your goal where you have to reach. So if you want to reach here, join with us, learn with us, crack the success very effective. Any doubts which you have in the final minute? If you have any doubt, please, you can let me know. If you want to ask me anything, in the final minute. Srashti Jadji, what was your limitations not to clear the? Can you repeat your question again, ma'am? Can you repeat your question, please? Thank you very much. Limitation not to clear UPSC is good guidance, effective implementation of knowledge, not great mentorship, and not understanding the syllabus very perfectly. That was the major limitation which generally aspirants who have failed in this examination had. So we might have also at the edge luck, because back then in 2015, my score was somewhere around 742, where I was somewhere short of 38 marks. So is that 38 marks defining my knowledge, or is that 38 marks defining my judgment, or is that 38 marks defining my mistakes? I did not consider, because that has happened in the past. Let it go. Clear? So limitations are those things where you won't get greater guidance from the people. Let it be the seniors, masters, or the mentors. If you get perfect guidance, what to read, what to leave, then it would be effective, that you can get greater considerations. Greater results happen only when greater guidance come into picture. For this point. So I hope these doubts have been clarified. Any more doubts? Yes. Anyone else? I'm waiting the last minute. Chalo, thank you for being with me in this particular session. Have a great day. Join us at VISHNU IAS from July 1st at this Parivarthan batch to have a great success. Thank you for watching this. Have an awesome day. Jai Hind.
Should we start?
Hello, everyone. Yes. Yes. Prashant Sagar, please
Yes, sir.
open your video.
I have unmuted my video, sir.
So here, Prashant Sagar, IRS officer, 2019 523 rank, the vibrant, very committed personality I'm going to introduce. And now, on our request, he came to share his experiences and want to make you how to prepare for general studies mains, for mains examination. Sagarji, thank you very
Okay,
much for
sir.
accepting.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Everyone, and now the baton is yours. Please.
Okay, sir. Okay, so let's start. Basically, I think I was listening to the last speaker, so I guess most of the things have been covered, but I'll give you a few of my own inputs. First of all, be thorough with the syllabus. Go read the GS syllabus today. So there are basically, I'll just go through it, go through the syllabus. There are 4 papers. GS1 is mainly history and geography. Like in a layman term, if you want to classify it, GS1 is basically your history and geography. Then GS2 is mostly polity and governance. GS3 is mostly economics and disaster management. And GS4 is your ethics. So how to start with it? First of all, you all we all read the GS papers mainly for prelims. So more or less that amount of knowledge is needed. You start with that knowledge. Don't read too many books. Just go through the syllabus once. Read your history completely. Read your geography completely. Read your NCRTs plus 1 reference book for each. Like for history, you can read Vipin Chandra and NCRTs. Like similar for geography, you can read a geography and GC Leong or Majid Hussain. So in similar ways, complete the syllabus thoroughly. After that, after you are done with your syllabus, go through the GS syllabus. See that you recognize the keywords or not. Okay, for example, if the keywords say is governance, so do you have a standard definition of governance with you? So go through all the keywords, prepare at least 100 words on each keyword. This is what I did. Okay, I went through the syllabus. Whatever keyword I thought was important for me, I prepared around 100 to 150 words right up on that. So it was to glimpse through it before going into the exams. So you need to have a standard definition for everything that you write. Like suppose there is a keyword called poverty. So you should have a standard definition of what poverty means. Though you can define it in the paper, like while writing in your own layman term, but that definition might be not that up to the mark. There is a World Bank definition. There is a definition of we ourselves have our own definition of poverty by our different bodies that we have constructed in India. So you need to have 100 to 150 words right up on each and every keyword that you come across in your syllabus. Okay, like for poverty, prepare 100 and 150 words. Say for governance, prepare 100 and 150 words. Likewise, you go through all. Okay, this is go through all the once you are done with the syllabus, go and download answer sheets of toppers. Okay, so like I downloaded answer sheet, like I was selected in 2000 CSE 2018. I'll come to that. Come to essay. Like for this I downloaded a previous year, like I was selected in CSE 2018. I downloaded answer sheets of toppers of 2015, 16, 17. So you'll easily find it. Most of the answer sheets are there on like somewhere you'll find it somewhere on the internet. So go through those answer sheets. Like suppose there is a question on Akbar's administration. Okay, so like give us the brief, give us the brief outline of Akbar's administration. So you think in your mind how you would approach that question. Okay, or if you have enough time, write it down. Okay, and then see how the topper approached it. Because you will understand the difference between how a topper, how a selected person approaches a question and how you like how you as an aspirant approach that answer. So you can improve upon that. Essay also somebody asked, so I'll cover essay also. See, for essay, I have a habit of writing, so I didn't prepare much myself, but I would suggest ki, read a lot. Anyhow, being a UPSC aspirant, we are into reading a lot. We read good articles, we read good books. So one thing in mind, like while you're reading a good editorial in a newspaper, keep in mind that how the writer has started his own essay, started his own article, and how the writer has ended it. Okay, so for essay, the basic idea is there should be a circular ending. Okay, there should be a sense of completion when you have completed an essay. Okay, so that can be done in different manners. Like in one way, it could be like you start with quoting Gandhi and then you end by quoting Gandhi. So whenever somebody is reading that essay, he'll have a sense of completion, that a circular, like a circle has been formed. Okay, that author has, the writer has a definite flow of a flow of ideas, and he in the very beginning was sure how he is going to end this essay. So this makes a essay like more beautiful. Now, apart from that, if you are like not very confident about essays, write 1 or 2 essays like every month or a week. Like if you have a lot of time, like if you're approaching for the next year, then you can write 1 essay every month and get it checked by your peers. If somebody likes an essay, somebody reads an essay and he likes it as a layman, that would be also enough for a UPSC examiner to like that essay. You don't need to have a lot of flowery language to write an essay. You can use simple words. You can use simple sentences. One mistake that people do is that people write very long sentences. So in essays, try to avoid that. Try to write short sentences, short paragraphs. And another thing that I would suggest while approaching an essay, at the very back of the question paper, you have rough sheets. So use those rough sheets before writing this. How many pages we have to write? Shashti chart, pages for what? Essay or GS paper? Okay, so for essay, in the essay, okay, there is no fix. I don't remember the number of pages actually, but it depends. Like there is limited number of pages for each essay. Okay, so if you have time, try to fill up all the pages, or at least till 1.5 page before wherever your essay is in, like wherever the number of pages, limited pages are ending. You have a limited number of pages for essays. So, see, as I said, there are a limited number of pages for each essay. Okay, the number of pages are limited. So, if possible, if you can write, then go for it. Write all the pages. I currently don't remember the number of pages for essays, but like even there is a word limit, I guess 2,500. But I have my friends who even wrote 1,000 words essays and they got very good marks. So I guess the focus more is on quality and not on quantity. So make the essays better. Don't try to fill up the pages. But if you don't have much of an idea, try at least try to fill up most of the pages, like not till the brim. At least leave 1 page or 1.5 page from the number of pages that have been allotted. For essays, as I was saying, try to use the last rough sheet before approaching, select the topic. There are four, I guess, four options for each pair, like part A and part B. Can you please tell us some topics of essay? What kind of they will be? Uh, yeah, there are no fixed topics for essays. There is no fixed syllabus, like uh, dimensions from which UPSC can ask. Usually it is on general, usually it is on general topics. Like there would be one like you will have two essays to write. I guess 3 to 4 options are given for each essay for part A and part B. So there would be topics like if one question from economy, one from I guess women empowerment. There can be an essay on caste. There was an essay on women social issues, in general social issues, like whatever issue that might be in news. There might be an essay on science and technology. So it is from the UPSC syllabus, but like there is no fixed definition that what they want to ask. Okay, so just be prepared. Philosophy, social issues, anything like any topic from GS papers, GS 1, 2, 3, 4, anything they can ask. Can we write idioms and phrases as well as of course you can write idioms or phrases. So so as I was saying, use the last page as a blueprint. Prepare a blueprint for the whole essay. Like suppose there was this essay called if the development is not engendered, then it will be endangered. So it was basically a essay on women empowerment, like in a layman term. So what you do, you go to the last page, prepare introduction, how you are going to introduce this essay, then prepare paragraphs, divide the essays. Like I'll first cover the women issues. I'll first introduce the problems of women. Then I'll look into how the problems would be solved, and then I'll conclude. So this is the basic flow of my essay. Is there a fixed amount, or any fixed amount of phrases we have to write in? There is no, see, essay is a completely subjective thing. It's up to you how to approach it. Like there is no fixed direction given. There is only a word limit, and there is no fixed direction given. You can write it in any manner you want. Okay, you can use a lot of idioms and phrases. You can like if you wish, you can write a plain essay without using idioms or phrases or any quotes by any person. So so one thing is, always prepare a blueprint before writing an essay. Always prepare a blueprint. Do's and don'ts could we write inside? Of course, you can write do's and don'ts. You can write. See, that is what I'm saying. Prepare a blueprint. There is a rough sheet at the back of the answer sheet. Go there. Prepare a blueprint how you are going to approach this essay. Right? Introduction. I'll do this. Paragraph 1. I'll do this. Paragraph 2. I'll do this. Paragraph 3. I'll do. What happens, because essay is a long process. Like you have, I guess, 3 hours and 1.5 hours for each essay. So what we tend to do is, like, while writing, we tend to forget the flow of the essay. At times we might write, suppose I am approaching the essay on women empowerment. I might skip an issue. While writing, I might forget it. So keep referring to your blueprint after every paragraph. This is what most of the people do. Prepare a whole blueprint. Paragraph 1, I'll do this topic. Paragraph 2, I'll do this topic. Even if you have some quotation, write the quotations also, because you have, like, give half an hour, like first 30 minutes, use it to prepare both the essays in the rough sheet. Okay. And use the next 2 hours and 30 minutes for your essays. The first 30 minutes, keep it for selecting their proper essay and then writing a whole blueprint for both the essays. So that would be better, and like you will be able to finish it in a more well-oriented manner. So that is how you should approach the essays. If you wish to write quotations, you can either invent quotations there. Most of the people invent quotations. Can we use mother tongue proverbs, or we have? No, you can quote you can write a Telugu quote and then give an English English interpretation or English translation for that quote. That is well accepted. That is no bar. You must have read several articles in Hindu or Indian Express where the writer has quoted Telugu or Kannada quotes and then has given us somehow loose interpretation or loose translation for that quote. That is fairly acceptable. No worries about that. Then coming to again, okay, sure. Most of the people also do, what you can also do is that download a notebook for your phone, since you all are having smartphones as you are accessing this session. Download, there are several apps, Evergreen, Notepad, download anyone and make a quotation folder in that. Okay, so whatever good quotation that you come across, try updating that in your folder. So by the end of the year, by the time you approach exam, you'll have a very good list of quotations on several topics, on topic of women, on topic of health, poverty, philosophy. So that comes very handy while writing an essay. So you can do that also. I used to keep such a folder for myself in my phone where I used to update my quotes, and that is a very good habit. Actually, even Nehru used to do that. He had a whole diary of where he used to write quotes, whatever he used to come across. So it's a good habit. You can do that also. Coming to the GS part, as I said, as other speakers also said, read the basic books, then go through previous year questions. Then when you find time, download answer sheets of toppers, and go through how they approach the answers. And how do you write a GS answer is, you should have a good introduction. Then you approach the whatever is asked in that answer, in that question, and then you give a good conclusion to it. So suppose there is a good example. Suppose there is a question on Harappan architecture. Okay, the question is define. Let's discuss how Harappan cities were in ancient India. So how do you approach this question? First of all, you'll give a good introduction. In introduction, you won't be straight away going for whatever is asked in the question. You'll give Harappan civilization existed between circa 5,000 years ago in this region of India. You can draw a map. You can mark the Harappan areas. This would be your basic introduction. Then you will write about what is asked in the question. You'll give a subheading that Harappan architecture. And then you talk about Harappan architecture and how they have how they evolved, and from what and how they affected history further, how they affected architecture of India further down the line. So this would be your basic answer. They were well planned. I knew. Good, nice, Jad. And then you have conclusion. So how to conclude an answer? Suppose most of the time, if you have a history question, try to connect it with the present. So for a question on discuss Harappan architecture, you can conclude with perhaps the modern world can learn a lot from Harappan architecture. Even our smart cities plan, like we have this smart cities plan. So perhaps our modern plans of smart cities can learn a lot from Harappan architecture, where the cities were so well planned. And we can also start our modern architecture and modern city building on the lines of Harappa. So in a way, you connected a modern scheme or a modern theme to an old answer. So in this way, you have concluded the answer. In similar way, you can conclude, suppose there is a question on poverty, you can conclude with a way forward. Like, what are the schemes that government has introduced, or how do you see the poverty would be ending in future, or what roadmap should the government take? So that might be a better way to conclude a current affairs answer. So that is it. And what is prepare 100 and 150 words write up on each keyword that you see in your syllabus. So that would come handy while you are writing your answers. And first of all, complete your syllabus and then go for answer writing. Give yourself a few months, go through the whole syllabus, and whenever you find something which is which might be helpful in answer writing, write it down in a separate copy. Don't make complete notes, because most of the coaching centers provide good notes these days, so I don't think that would be required. But if you come across a good good quotation or a good data, so write it down. Write it down in your phone or write it down in a notepad, like whatever way it's easier for you. So that is it. I would be happy to answer. Like, I guess most of the speakers spoke very nicely about how to cover mains answers, and so if you have any specific query, I would love to answer. Else, I'll cover how part by part you have to cover GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4. And do you have any queries? Please feel free to ask. Or I'll go to sir. What about okay? Prelims preparation, see, UPSC preparation is not very tough. I was a very average student. In class 12th in maths, I got 35 marks. I just barely passed. Okay, so it's not a very big deal. All you have to do is be consistent in your studies, which is the most scoring of all. There is no fix, like it changes. Like for a few years, in GS2, they used to give really low score. After that, they're like these days they're giving good marks in GS2, but they have toned down the marks in GS4. So it changes everywhere. It depends on the trend. You don't have to worry. You have to just give your best, and whatever be the trend, that would be same for you. So it doesn't affect much. Initial stages. Apart from this, sir, as we have articles what are regarding ripenism. Why still it's going on, when it will stop being a bureau? What are you thinking about it? What kind of Shrishti Jat, I don't think that this is the right platform for me to speak against a particular section, I guess you're talking about articles, not sections. So I guess this is not a very right platform. I am here to talk about GS papers. So I'll be taking question on GS and not on specific laws. Pratyusha, so how to start answer writing in initial stages? In initial stages, first go through the syllabus, then take out your 10 years question papers. You can download it from UPSC website, or you can buy a book which has 10 years papers. So go through the papers. Like if you're reading history these days, go through the history questions. If you're reading geography, go through the geography questions. See if you can attempt it or not. And again, as I said, also download answer sheets of toppers. See how they have answered a particular question and how you would have approached a particular question. What is the best approach for ethics? Yeah, for ethics, I would say, again, for ethics, this preparing short notes for keywords becomes more important, because most of the questions asked in ethics are from the keywords given in the syllabus. So my optional was anthropology. So so what you do, first of all, prepare short notes for every keyword that is given in the syllabus. Apart from that, go through 10 years papers. If you want to specifically read a book, I have never read a book for paper 4. Okay, so if you want to read a book on ethics, I would suggest go for Mudit Jain books. Mudit Jain is an IRS, and he was previously an IPS, then he came to IRS. So Mudit Jain sir has, I followed Mudit Jain answers and I followed his book, but I have never read his book particularly. I just went through the way his answer writing ways. I downloaded his answer sheets and saw how he wrote his answers. Okay, and in ethics, part 2, like the part B, which is case studies, becomes very important, and there is no fixed book for that. Okay, so you have to just go through how to approach the answers, how toppers have approached the answer, and then you can copy their style, the way they have written, and you can practice on that. practice more and more case studies based on that. For books, I would say go for Mudit Jain book if you want to specifically read a book on ethics. I guess few questions. What was your observer? Why did you choose anthropology? Yeah, honestly speaking, I had no idea of anthropology. Initially, when I started preparing, there was this senior who cleared that year, and he used to come to my library, and like he's an IRPS 2015 batch. Akash sir is his name. So Akash sir guided me through anthropology in initial days, and hence I took anthropology. There was no fixed inclination for me. But if you're choosing an option, I'll say even I read a few books on anthropology before taking it as an optional for myself. So that is how I chose anthropology. Are there any more questions? Okay. Can you please share your experience while you start in the hall to write prelims paper? One was hard. Sir, how do you notes for? Okay. Shristi Jat, experience while starting for prelims. See, when you set for UPSC, it's a mixture of anxiety and I used to not like, I had a really bad habit. I would not suggest you doing this, but I am unable to sleep before a night before exam. So by the time I reach the exam hall, I am very sleepy. So I used to drink a lot of water, and I used to take a few chocolates. You can take chocolates inside the exam hall if your examiner is kind. So I used to take chocolates inside with me, and I used to eat chocolates while giving my exam, or well, even during prelims, I used to take chocolates with me. So it's mix of anxiety. You have to control your because it's a question of your career, right? So with every answer you take, you are fearful that this might lead to your selection, or you might not getting selected. But things apart, for prelims, I would suggest try to answer at least 85 to 90 questions. Try to attempt 85 to 90 questions, because every year the cutoff is getting a bit tricky. How many? Okay, can you please, sir, how do we make notes for general awareness? General awareness, as in current affairs, or see, for current affairs, most of the coachings these days prepare very good notes and they give it to you. So I don't think you should waste your time in that. You can simply go through their notes, and that is more than enough. Okay, just read your newspapers. Don't waste time in making separate notes, because anyhow the coaching centers would be giving notes on general awareness. So just if you come across something which is very relevant for you, which is relevant for, say, your optional paper, or which you feel is not there in the coaching handout, then you can make notes for that. Okay, else I would suggest, it's kind of a double work. Like, when somebody is already making the notes for you, there is no need. You can use that time better to do something else, to improve your general, to improve your optional, or do any, improve upon any other topic. Okay. Where is questions? So I have given 4 attempts. How to manage time while writing answers? Manage time while writing. See, this comes from practice. Try to answer, like when you are done with your syllabus, not now, when you're done with your syllabus, try to write 1 or 2 answers daily. Set your time for a 10 marker question. Like these days, there are 2 types of questions. From question 1 to 10, you have 2 pages to write, and from question 11 to 20, you have 3 pages to write. So try to practice. For question 11 to 20, you can give each question 9 minutes, and nine something. There was a classification. So classification for time limit, I forgot. You do the calculation that like 3 hours, and for question 1 to 10, I remember we have 7 minutes. So try practicing 1 or 2 answers every day. So see if you can write an answer in 7 minutes or not, because it becomes tricky because you see a question and then you have to frame the entire answer and then also write it down. So that becomes tricky. That only comes with practice. You will have to practice a lot. See, UPSC is about studying a lot. Like it's not a very tough exam. It's all about perseverance. You have to give around 8 to 10 hours daily. And even if you're an average student or even a below average student, I would say with good with hard work, you have a really good chance of clearing UPSC. It's not very tough. It's just about giving more and more time to it and being consistent with your how to manage answer. Apart from this, how was the Joe chapter? It's nice. It's the other side is really nice. You get a really good treatment in academies. The life is good in academy. Like I am recently being posted as 8 to 10 hours full self-study, or like 8 to 10 hours with, I would say, without coaching 8 to 10 hours. So you should see when you sit for 8 to 10 hours, like if you sit for 10 hours, suppose, so your effective time of study would be 7 hours, because anyhow we are human beings. We would be taking breaks, we would be doing something on phone, talking to somebody. So if you sit for 10 hours, your effective hours of study is 7 hours. So if you sit for 12 hours, your effective study hours are around 8 to 9 hours. So that is how it goes. I'm saying 8 to 10 hours, you have to sit on your table. Apart from coaching, like suppose coaching hours are 2 hours, I guess. That is the average coaching hours I would say is there. So if coaching hour is 2, suppose let's take an example of a basic, how my day used to go. I used to reach my library at around 8. Yeah, I'll answer that. I'll just go through my schedule. I used to reach my library at around 7:30 to 8. I used to have my breakfast over there only. And from 8, I used to sit and I used to go back around 10:30 in the night. So that makes it 8 to 8, 12 hours and 13, 14 hours. Okay. So this was my average. I reached, and this is without coaching. Okay. So I used to reach library 8 in the morning and leave at 10:30 in the night. And I was also doing my law from Delhi University. So even if I had a college that day, so my my room was not that far. So I used to come from college to my library at around 2:30, at times 3. And then that day I used to study till 12. So this was my basic idea. 12 or 1 in the night, and then I used to go back to my room. So this is the basic. This should be suppose you are a student who has a 2 hour of coaching. So let's suppose that your coaching is 8 in the morning. What you have taken in your graduation? No, I did my engineering, and then while preparing for UPSC, I did my laws. I had 3 years. I said, no, I took 4 attempts. So I had 3 years. So in 3 years, I cleared UPSC also, and I cleared my LLB also. So this should be your average. Suppose you have 2 hours of coaching. So let's say 8 to 10 you have your coaching, or 8 to 10:30 you have your coaching. You come to library at 10:30. You start by 11, and then from 11 to 11 you should study. Okay, that should be your ideal. In between, as I said, you will take 2 to 3 hours of break. So 11 to 11, if you sit, you effectively would be studying for 9 hours. Okay, so this should be an ideal schedule, at least for an average student, as I would say. Sir, what should be the okay? What should be working? What should be strategy for working as per how to plan at least how many hours to study? Okay, there is a direct message about working aspirants. See, I have a really good friend in academy. His name is Shreyash. Shreyash was a scientist at Bhabha Atomic Research Center. Okay, this I'm talking for people who are working. So he told me about his schedule, which I'm sharing with you. Okay, so his office hours were uh, from morning to 7:30 in the night. He used to come back to his room at 7:30 in the evening, and then he used to study till 2 or 3. Okay, and after that, on Saturdays and Sundays, he used to study for 12 hours. 12-13 hours he used to cover on Saturdays and Sundays. That was his strategy. So again, you see, he's still studying for 8 to 10 hours. He's sitting at 7:30, so 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11, 12. So he's giving 7 to 8 hours even then, daily. So that you'll have to manage with your work. So that should be ideally how you should be. And also always keep a book with yourself whenever you find some time in between your office work. Try to read something, or you can read current affairs at least while at work. So that is how you should manage. Okay. What have you taken in your graduation part? As I said, I did engineering and then I did my LLB. Is it a myth or reality that it should be easy for engineers to crack UPSC? No, like it's a myth. You don't need to be like, it's not very easy for engineers also to crack. In fact, there are myths about several interview boards who hate engineers because a lot of engineers are coming these days. So it's a myth. Like I would say an art student has a greater chance at clearing UPSC because they already know how to write good answers, which engineers lack mostly. And what to do to avoid sleep? That is up to you. If you're very interested in reading and if you're very interested in the syllabus, you won't be feeling that sleepy. Take a regular break. That I would say. See what suits you. I used to take break after every 35 minutes. I still do that. Every 35 minutes, I take a break, 5-minute break, go have some fresh air, clean, washing up your face, and then come. So that you can do. It's good. See, I didn't do a proper coaching because I was also, as I said, I was also doing law, so I didn't have much time with myself. I was a law student also. So what I used to do, I used to appear for tests. I used to give answer writing test a lot, and that helped. Okay, and there were a few good seniors which I had who were very helpful for me, and they were the one who guided me through it. So if you have a good guidance, you may or may not take coaching. That depends on you. That is absolutely a personal call. But just see how well aware you are and whether you need it or not. Okay, so that is the difference. It all depends on you whether you need it or not. Okay. Any more questions? I feel like you people have had a very long session today. If you have any more queries regarding GS or any other in general question about like how to write an answer, how to GS4, as I said, it's very easy. Go through the whole syllabus. Again, if you want to know the books, I can go through the books for what I used. Okay, then again, it's not a very fixed thing. Some people might have used other books. So what I did, I used for history, I used old NCERT and old NCERT and Vipin Chandra. And for culture, I used Nitin Singhania and again NCERT and CCRT handout. For geography, I used I'll just go through the books, and for geography, I used NCERT and this Majid Hussain and GC Leong. For economics, I used again, I went through Mrunal videos and I went through this Shri Ram IS handout. That was really good. And what else remains? For ecology, again, you have that that coaching centers book now, and I went through old NCERT for ecology. And what else remain? History, geography. For polity, of course, Lakshmikant, and polity and governance I did from Lakshmikant. And what else? I guess this might be sufficient for like GS syllabus. And as I said, for paper 4, I didn't read any book in particular, but I went through a lot of toppers' answer sheets to understand how they write the answer. And I had a short list of where I prepared 100 words on each keywords. So that might be helpful for you. Sir, Honey, language paper as in your regional language paper or English paper? As you realize, okay, okay. Please tell about mains qualifying paper because no one give any inputs on. Oh, okay, I'll talk about that. Okay. See, there are 2 qualifying papers which you have to just pass, anyhow pass, and it's not very tough. Honestly, it's not. It's like class 10th level. So you have one paper of Hindi or any regional language, any constitutional language, or you have this and you have the second English paper. English paper is mandatory for all except for a few parts, few tribals, and few parts of India. Except for rest, like in both the papers are compulsory. Some exceptions are there. So I am assuming you people all belong to a category where both the papers have to be given. So you don't have to do much in that. Even if you like, if you have had a decent schooling in life, you will sail through both the papers. You don't need to worry much about that. Even the one who checks the paper is very lenient about it. If you have a fear of it, suppose if you have a genuine fear that you may or may not be able to clear the language paper, then go through the 10 years. The 10 years are available in the market. Go through the 10 years. You will see it's not very tough. Usually what they do is they give you a simple 10th level language paper. Like they'll give you a paragraph where you have question answers. You can find the question and answers in the paragraph. You have one or two translations. Then again, you have simple idioms and phrases. Then you have an essay, small short essay, which is I guess of 100 marks or something like that. So they pass. They'll pass you anyhow. There are cases that people have failed it, but usually if you have a decent background, so you don't need then you don't need to worry about that. But if you feel like that you're not very good at language papers, then go through the previous year papers. Even if you go through that 1 or 2 weeks before, that would be more than enough. Okay. I would suggest, if you're very fearful of that, go through the previous year papers and solve all the 1 markers. There are 1 markers at the end, and that is I guess of 50 or 60 marks or more than that. So you go through those fill in the blanks, 1 word for many words, that sort of questions. You go through them, and they are very like most of them are repeated every 2nd or 3rd year. So you can go through that, prepare a list of that, and ratify it and go. You'll pass. Don't worry. It's not much of an hurdle. And okay. As you analyze so many things, happened is a day and night. You have already faced how you manage such. You became isolated or also stuck with them. What you do? Shashti, I had a pretty isolated life. I was in Delhi alone. I used to live in Mukherjee Nagar, and I was preparing, as I said, I was in Delhi University, and I was also preparing for UPSC. So I had a very limited social group. I had a few college friends who used to live with me and also prepare. So I had a very limited social interaction. There were a few friends who were working in MNCs. So I used to meet them like once or twice a year, mainly on my birthday or their birthdays. For the rest part of the year, I was a pretty isolated person. Okay, so idea of language paper being a newcomer in the field of UPSC. I have completed into well, and now I'm going to prepare for UPSC, even though I don't have any guidance on any other diseases, any randomly someday. Listen to my being a burden, my family wouldn't want to give any more attempts I'll engage into. Okay. So kindly give any suggestion which you can manage my long. I've started listening to you. See, I know there is the family backgrounds is for JAT. I guess every family background is very different. Some families are very open, some are very conservative about marriage and all. So if you have such family obligations, what you can do is you start preparing for from now. I won't say that you would be clearing it in the very first attempt that you appear in 2024 and you'll be clearing it. But I would suggest is that even if you are married, you don't give it up. Whatever social situation you are in, don't give it up. Okay, just keep preparing, keep hanging on. There is the story of Anu Kumari. She was a senior of mine, ranked to, I guess, year 2017. She was married and she was 32-year-old, and something similar happened to her. She started preparing, gave an attempt, and then she was not able to clear it, and then she got married around when she was 27, 28, and then she left the preparation. Then again, when she was 30, she restarted her preparation and then gave her last attempt, and she cleared it with second rank. So we have such stories over here. So no, she was not my friend. She was a senior of mine. I cleared in 2018, and I guess she cleared in 2017. You can look up to her story, Anu Kumari. She was ranked 2, I guess. Okay, I guess more or less I have covered most of the queries. If you have any issues, feel free to contact me. And can you speak the book names? See, the book names are very common books I've used. I actually used booklets from Runal.org. There is this popular some teacher named Runal. I followed his book list. It was not, and the book list is common if you people want to hear it again. It's for history, old NCRT, that's Vipin Chandra. Okay. For geography, again old NCRT plus GC Leong and Majid Hussain. For economics, I followed Mrinal and Shri Ram IS handout. For environment, I again followed old NCRT plus Shankar IS handout. And for polity, I just followed Lakshmi Kanta. I didn't follow the NCRTs. And for culture, I followed Nitin Singhania and CCRT handout and a bit of NCRT. This is the basic this is a basic book list that everybody would, and only this much of the books are important. You don't need to study more than this. You just have to study this many books again and again and again. Okay, and most of you will find most of your answers here. And what else? Make good use of internet. If you're not finding an answer, go to the internet, find good answers. Keep your concepts very clear. I wanted to ask with you, like I have so that I could write the names again, please. Okay. If please feel free to like text me on Instagram or Facebook. I would be happy to answer whenever I find time. Okay. What else? I guess it's Prashant Sagar 25. Okay. What else? I guess I've answered most of the thing. Just go through all of that. First clear your concepts, then go for answer writing, and try to answer like when you are done with the syllabus, try to do 1 or 2 answers daily. Okay, and I really hope that sure okay, just Any more queries? I would be happy to answer. And okay, and I would really love to see all of you on the other side of your preparation. I really hope that someday in the lanes of bureaucracy, we come across each other. Okay, and you come up to me and say that, hey, you remember that you came to take a session for us. So I would be really happy to see you on the other side. Just hang in there, give your best. Okay, hope to see you soon in like 1 or 2 years, suppose 3 or 4 years. Please come. Okay, and just don't give up. Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Sir, I
Prashant ji?
guess. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much for
Thank you,
your
sir.
valuable time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, and
Okay.
everyone. Tomorrow again we will meet at 2 o'clock. Thank you, Prashant ji.
Sir, can I leave the session now?
Yes, yes, please.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Yes, everyone. So tomorrow again we will meet at 2 o'clock with Arpita Roy, International Relations class, and ethics, retired IRS officer, and a very big thing. So this all we will be having tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Thank you. Hope you are enjoying the session.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Sir, general awareness notes, how should we do it?
General awareness.
Newspaper and Yojana magazine, like, do we have to make notes? What do you suggest?
What is your name?
Kaumudi, sir.
Oh, yeah, okay, okay. See, listen, I will tell you. Newspaper, what are the articles which you have to read? I am sending. So those articles very selectively I am sending. So those articles you read, number one. Number two, if anyone asks me, sir, whether it is required to read the newspaper, means I will tell yes. Why? Because first 6 months you are beginners. So in order to understand the language, the bureaucratic language, the technical words which are involved in civil services, for that particular words, vocabulary development, we need to read newspaper and Yojana also. Yojana is very much useful in order to understand how the writing practices is there. So in the beginning, read a newspaper, Yojana magazine. Number two, writing notes is a Herculean task. But I will recommend, as you are beginners, if you write, it will help you to improve your vocabulary. So not only reading, as you are writing, your vocabulary will be developed. One more thing, don't copy paste what is there in the newspaper into your book. Never. If that is the case, you can do Xerox. So you have to read it, you have to understand it, and you have to write by your own words to the point, bullet points. Not a total newspaper, not a total article, only those points which are necessary. Those points which you understand, that you have to write in your notes. But remember this, for 4 to 5 months you do this, then you get accustomed yourself to the newspaper. After 4 months, slowly you can reduce the time period for reading the newspaper, and you can stop writing the notes also, current affairs, newspaper also. Why? Because ready-made, anyhow I am providing you, so that ready-made you can take. So when you read that, you will understand why, because you already practiced it. So after that, only that crux you can read. Understood, Komudi?
Yes, sir.
Yes, this
Excuse me, sir.
name.
So myself, Srishti.
Yes. Srishti, 1 minute. Srishti, we will have the session tomorrow again. Why? Because your doubt, you can message me, Srishti. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Any other doubts? Thank you. Tomorrow again 2 o'clock.